You know what this is, and you know why we're here. We are sponsored by New York Hardcore Comics, The Organic Grill, The Texas Silver Rush, Chain Reaction Records and Skateboards, Chacho's Tacos, DTFM Vinyl Distro, and now Generation Records. What's going on? It's Shout Out Sunday. Let's shout them out. Shout it, shout it, shout it out loud. What's up, Clint? Oh, happy Mother's Day to everyone. To all the moms out there. Happy Mother's Day. How you doing, Philip? Set it off. Set it off. What's going on? Yeah, let's get it rolling. It is Sunday. You know something? I got a good feeling about today's show. I don't always say that, but when I do, I'm usually spot on. What's up, Lori Dawn? Happy Mother's Day. Here you go. What's happening in Belgium? All right. Keep my girls in check in Belgium, will you? All right. Shout out to a nice day outside. Fair enough. All right. Shout out to Tracy. You know what I mean? You know what? Shout out to Upstate Rick. Shouting you out, Upstate Rick. I went and visited him yesterday or 2 days ago up in the Burke Rehabilitation Center in White Plains, New York. So what's up, Scott? Brother, how are you, man? Word to your mom. Word to your moms. I came to drop bombs, you know? There you go. Excited about today's show. I now also have a Patreon, Drew. Okay, good. Good. Caviar City is watching. Cavar City? Where is Cavar City? Probably Florida, right? Where is Cavar City, if I may be so bold as to ask? Okay, that Amoebics record Roy plays on, Sonic Mass, is immense. All right, well, we're going to get into that and a whole lot more. You know, got more rhymes than the Bible's got Psalms. All right. You know, hello from London, UK. Come in, London. All right. Listen, let's get the show on the road. What's happening with the one, the only, the pride of Long Island, the pride of Massapequa?
Comac.
Oh, Comac.
Coming straight out of Comac.
Coming straight out of Comac. I'll give you a smack. You better get back. I'm on the attack.
That's a
better fall back.
Isn't it nice to be home? It's nice to be home. I'll try not to move my head so much. Right. And happy Mother's Day to all you mothers, all the mothers of the pit, women of the pit,
mothers of the pit.
That's it. That's going to be their branch off there. Shout out to everybody, you know.
Of the pit. What were we talking about? The Times Square thing? What happened in Times Square?
There was like a shooting yesterday in Times Square. I was in the city with the car bomb parade doing some photos, and a few blocks from where we were, there was a shooting in the Times Square, like right after we left. And
oh, wait a second. You mean that can't be the same city that the mayor was talking yesterday about? It's New York City is safer than it's ever been, and there was a shooting in Times Square an hour later.
Yeah, in fact, a kid in a toy store got hit with like a stray bullet. It was this really, terrible thing.
This mayor should have like a clown nose, and wear like a bozo wig. He actually, I've been on the subway. I see what's going on there. It's a friggin' rolling mental institution homeless shelter. And this guy gets on and says, the subways are safer than it's ever been. I'm like, what subway you riding, bro?
It's a strange thing. I mean, I'm on the 7 train in Queens every day. It's not as bad as the city. We still get some winners, And I mean, I love to people watch, so it's like going to the zoo every day. And but it's
listen, man, it's in the world of politics of spinning.
Yeah,
wagging the dog. This mayor is like he should be doing a stand-up act,
Oh man, yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I think the city. I mean, I still love the city, and I'm there all the time. But there's some sketchiness, I mean, there's always going to be.
Man. Yeah, it's you know, they're like launching this whole thing to get, you know, tourism back in New York City.
Yeah.
And like an hour later, like somebody pulls out a gun and goes and like it's
Yeah.
the Wild West in Times Square. Like, woohoo.
Yeah, I mean,
Man.
and you know, the funny thing is Times Square is usually one of those uber like Disney areas, you know, but
Listen, it's also real obvious that the cops are just letting this mayor just like doing everything they can to make the mayor look bad. You know, the cops are not aligned with this mayor. They never have been, you know, so that's sort of but anyway, you know what? You're right. You're right. No politics. I'm sorry. You know what? What came over me? Let's do photo of the day.
let's do it.
Hey. Let's do photo of the day. Let me clear the deck. What the heck? Ladies and gentlemen, wrong answers only, please. Photo of the day. Boom.
Nice.
All right. What do we got here? Wrong answers only, please. Here we go. Well, he's playing a 5-string bass. I could say that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And is it Venom? Is it BB Rebozo? Who is BB Rebozo? Is it Kiss Unmasked? Is it Bigfoot? Is it Taylor Swift? Is it the Lunatics? Jaco Pastori, good one, Melvins. Good one. Is it Hoya? Another good one. Very good.
Long-haired Hoya.
Is it Tom Peterson? Not bad, Chris Corkum.
Tom Peterson plays a 12-string.
Shouting out Dave Brady, original Crumbsucker singer.
Dave,
what's up, Dave?
What's up?
What's up, bro?
Dave is awesome.
Is it Cannibal Corpse?
Can I just tell you how much I love the new Cannibal Corpse album right now? I really do. And it's called Violence Unimagined. And it's what I clean the house when I put it on. Sorry to get off track there.
Is it Bobby Hamble? Is it Madonna?
It is Madonna.
Is it Keith Bennett? Good one. Is it Chewbacca? Okay.
I think Chewbacca is the closest one so far.
You sent me a couple more, right?
I did, yeah.
Same band?
Yep. Yeah, I see. You were smart by putting that one first.
I know, because I know if I put this one on, people are going to bug out and like start in, you know. I didn't want to put this next. I see what I'm going to go with this one. Okay.
There you go. All right.
Now listen. Right answers only, please, because right answers only. Here we go. Boom. There you go. Right answers only. Let's not get crazy here.
Yeah.
You know. Well, was the last one Rex Brown?
It was Rex Brown, yes.
And what do we have here, boys and girls? And stop moving your head. Is it dime? Is it dime bag? Is it dime bag? Is it dime bag? Is it dime? Is it dime? Is it dime the goat? Is it dime bag?
Dime bag.
Yeah, no, look, well, here you go. Wait, here. Is it dime bag? Look, is it dime bag?
Bag of dimes.
Is it dime at Monsters of Rock? Dimebag Darrell. Dime. All right.
Do you remember when he was when the first record came out? He was Diamond Darrell.
Yeah, that's right.
He was Diamond Darrell before he became Dimebag Darrell.
That's right. That's right.
Yes, this is obviously Dimebag Darrell.
Right.
And this is Pantera. This is, you know, I mean, to me, this is them at their absolute prime. This was the right when Far Beyond Driven came out, and Nassau Coliseum, and the show was supposed to be Pantera, Prong, and Sepultura. And Max, I think he broke his arm or his ankle or something, and they couldn't play. Do you recall the situation?
No, I don't.
But I think he broke his arm like skateboarding or something. And it was just Pantera and Prong, and it was amazing. I mean, they were, you know, this was, like I said, this was them
Oh, knee surgery. That's what it was. It was knee surgery.
Thank you.
That
Thank
I
you.
remember. That I remember.
And so they didn't play, and that album debuted at #1, Far Beyond Driven, on the Billboard charts at the time. So they were just killing it, and they were amazing. And I don't care what anyone says about any of the members now, but this band at that point in time was unstoppable. They really were. And
I'm gonna put up the other photo.
Yeah, do it.
Everybody behave themselves, please. You know, there you go.
There he
All
is.
right. I know Phil has,
a colorful past.
has a colorful past, but I am friends with Phil. I am Jewish, and I am Jewish
on the show.
For whatever that, yeah, so let's not get crazy about Phil,
I would love to have him on. I think push comes to shove, he's one of the great frontmen. He really is. And this, what a band that was.
Of course, man. And listen, it's funny because I reached out to their manager today and wished her a happy Mother's Day, and she got back to me. But when I talked to her about having Phil on the show, she doesn't respond. But she responded to Happy Mother's Day.
That's funny.
Where's my great Phil picture? Because Phil's in the Alago film that I did.
Yeah, you got great shots from. You were like at his house, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. Hey, Lori Dawn.
Where's that?
Yeah, I love those pictures you had, like on his front porch. I think it was.
Yeah, here it
is,
right here. Wait, hold on. Hold on. Hold your horses. Whoa, 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 whoa.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Whoa, whoa, right-wing commies. Call us racist. We don't care what you think.
You're going to put typo in my head on Mother's Day.
We don't care. What
and I have to apologize. I dropped the ball. It's Mother's Day. Usually I would have the antipasto photo today, but I was out running errands. I didn't have the photo of the antipasto today, so maybe I'll get some when I go upstairs.
I'm having a problem here.
Uh-oh. Houston?
Yeah, I'm having a problem with the photos. What the fuck? All right, hold on. Let me find that again.
Yep.
Let me try it again.
While you're looking, another cool thing this week, Alan Robert posted, there was a picture of Lady Gaga wearing an old school Biohazard shirt that Alan actually drew.
Right.
And he was posting.
There you go.
There he is. That's a great shot.
Yeah. Yeah, that's me and Phil on his porch when we were doing the Alago film.
What's all that crap on the porch behind you?
Bro, this dude, it's like the Manson family over there, bro. The guys from I Hate God are like wandering around. Like I guess they live on the property. Dude's house, it's like something out of like what was the Manson family live in? What was that?
The Spawn Ranch. Yeah.
Yo, like Phil Anselmo, his joint, his place looks like Spawn Ranch, yo.
That's New Orleans, right?
Yeah, he's outside New Orleans. Yeah.
There's Pepper from Corrosion's near him too, I think.
Yep, for sure. Hey, you know what? Let's do something. We're gonna do something a little. Got something a little new today. We're gonna try something a little new, a little fun, and we're going to bring Matt Gray from Antidote NYHC on the show, and we are gonna do T-shirt of the week. So here you go, Matt Gray. What's up?
What's up, gentlemen?
What's up?
So are we doing? So you mentioned this to me. We thought it would be a fun thing because listen, we've been friends a while, and like every time I've ever seen you, in all the years I've known you, you've never worn the same T-shirt twice.
I have, without an exaggeration, in between 250 and 300 different punk rock, hardcore, and metal shirts.
So this is our premier shirt of the T-shirt of the week. And I see that you're wearing a pink Minor Threat shirt.
That is correct.
Tell us about it.
I bought this shirt in 86 or 87, and some of you New Jersey people might know a flea market called US1. And I used to go there some years back, and they had all types of punk rock and hardcore shirts. And I actually just dug this out. I found this last week because my wife and I were kind of like going through a lot of shit. We got a dumpster and we're getting rid of a lot of stuff. And I found a slew of all my old shirts, and it's all right. It still kind of fits, I guess. You know, not
Nice.
too bad. But
but you didn't get that from you didn't get that at a Minor Threat gig.
Dude, I ain't that old, man. Come on.
But I like how it matches your Minor Threat tattoo.
Yeah.
I like that. I like how it.
Oh yeah, look at that. That's cool. That's awesome.
Anything on the back?
Well, my old band was an old hardcore band called First Things First, and I silk screened that in like 9th grade. And
wow, that's you
cool.
like you're like, let's take the Minor Threat shirt and put our scrubby band on the back.
Yeah, Minor Threats here. We were like there. We were nothing. But anyway.
Hey,
that's awesome.
So
listen.
This shirt of the day. Also, I had something else if I could show as well.
Too. Yeah. Go ahead.
So, with Roy coming on and everything, I got that.
Wow.
So nice.
And on the back, it says that he played bass on this. So maybe you can shed some light on this today, because he was the drummer, I'm pretty sure. But you know, on the back it says, you know, Roy bass.
Well, let's do this. Are you going anywhere fast?
No. It's.
I'll bring you. Why don't you come on and say hi to? Why don't you come and say hi to our guest, being your fellow drummer?
Absolutely.
All right. That would be cool. All right. Yeah. Well, that's cool. This is going to be something we're going to do every now and then, because being that the drummer in my band doesn't call me back and respond to me about playing shows. He talks to the other guys in the band who in turn talk to me. It seems like the only way I could speak to this guy is to put him on the show, and then I could actually talk to him before the show
and thrash him publicly.
Listen, listen, bro. If I was in a band with me, I wouldn't talk to me either.
Hey, I got to give a shout out to Matt Gray. Matt has one of my favorite shirts, and I have a picture of him. He has the Man of War Sign of the Hammer shirt. And I have a picture of him given the sign.
Yeah, we put that up. Yep.
That's a classic.
See, Matt, Meredith says love when dudes wear pink.
Tough guys wear pink too.
That's right.
I'm not tough.
Right. All right, I'll see you guys in a bit. And Matt, hang out. I'll bring you on to say hi to our guest.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, there you go. It is the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live, and we are sponsored by New York Hardcore Comics, The Organic Grill, The Texas Silver Rush, Generation Records, Chacho's Tacos, DTFM Vinyl Distro, and Chain Reaction Records and Skateboards. Located. Where are you located? Located in Lakewood, Colorado, is the Rocky Mountain headquarters for all things punk, hardcore, and metal. Established in 2014, they have the largest selection of records, CDs, shirts, stickers, patches, and accessories between Chicago and Los Angeles. From the pit to the ditch, they've got your back. Get in touch with them at www.chainreactionrecords.com. Also, the Texas Silver Rush is a jewelry design firm and boutique store located in the birthplace of the Texas country music scene in Fredericksburg, Texas. They specialize in working with musicians in all music genres to design and create unique one-off pieces, as well as to style them for stage, album covers, promo photos, and social media exposure. Imagine that. So what was life like before social media exposure? How did you get exposure? You had to go out and how would you expose yourself? Their client list includes Rock and Roll Hall of Famers Greg Rowley, Ringo Starr, and of course, Agnostic Front. During this current pandemic, all information and online sales are being taken. Their Facebook and Instagram page, and of course, www.thetexassilverrush.com. Want to remind everyone that 1 week from today on the show is Mr. Bobby Steele from the Undead and formerly of the Misfits. This should be cool. Talk about some old Misfits stuff. Bobby Steele, of course, the guitar player on what some people feel are arguably the golden age of Misfits recordings. So this should be interesting. I expose myself. I touch myself. Remember that one? Who did that? I touch myself. Who was that? Divinals? Is that who that was? I want you to touch me. Wednesday, May 19th, after the Bobby Steele show from the Bruisers and Dropkick Murphys, Mr. Al Barr will be on the show. So, you know, we're not half-stepping here. Contrary to, yeah, it's the Divinals. I think she passed away a couple years ago, that gal. So there you go. Al Barr coming up on Wednesday, May 19th. Okay. You know what? I want to shout out Scott Datino, Godfather's Bar in Saipan, who has been supporting the show. You'll hear more about him, but he's in Saipan. He was the original bass player in Mucky Pup, and he landed in Saipan, and he has Godfather's Bar. And he loves the show, and he loves New York hardcore, and he's not afraid to support it. So that said, let's clear the deck. Let's bring our guest on. Hope everybody is behaving themselves in the chat room. Okay, I met Bobby at 171A and 81. Can't wait. For sure. Absolutely. Yes, Chacho's Tacos. Everybody. What's up, Johanna? What's up? What's happening? What's happening, Robert? What do you say? All right, here we go. Let me clear the deck. Yada-dee-da-da-da. All right, and away we go. Today's guest is an American drummer and songwriter hailing from Forest Hills, Queens in New York City. You know who else was born in Forest Hills, Queens, New York City? Right here. He is known for his work with Nausea, Shelter, Thorn, Soulfly, Crisis, Amoebics, Medication, A Bloom, Maggot SS, Channel Zero, Hell Yeah, and Ministry. In addition, since 2006 and on the last 6 studio albums, he's been a full-time member of Stone Sour. Please welcome, coming at us from Los Angeles, California, Mr. Roy Mayorga. Hey, man.
What's up?
How are you, buddy?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Good. Thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. How's things? Let's just jump right into it. How's things? What was going on when the zombie apocalypse hit? How's your life changed?
Well, you know, I've been going through the same thing everyone else has been going through all over the world. You know, just you know, trying to take it easy and make the best you can. You know, what's going on. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Just trying to keep busy and trying to keep sane, man. Trying to get through it. You know.
Did you have to cancel shows when this thing started? Like musically, how did it affect you initially?
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff canceled. At the time, I was actually drumming with Hell Yeah. That was the last show I played with them was last February for Shiprocked. And we did have a couple of tours coming up after that, but then they got canceled, obviously. So, you know, that's it.
And so here's a shot of you. And you know, I gotta say that you sent me a lot of great pictures for the show today. So we're gonna do a nice tour. And here's a shot of you in Hell Yeah, right?
Yeah, this is at a rehearsal for when we were doing the Vinnie Paul Memorial. That was the first time that these guys got back together in the room since he passed away, and it's basically a memorial show for him. It was pretty heavy, man. You know, pretty heavy.
First question of the day. It's a good one. Was he a telephone operator in the 1950s? What's that board behind him?
Yeah, I can call Mars on this
Murray Hill 66666.
No,
what is that? A Moog? What is that? No,
it's not a Moog. It's a clone of a Moog modular. It's made by this company that's been around for the last 10 years called synthesizers.com.
Is that right?
They basically clone all modular stuff. The Moog modular stuff is like, I mean, it's the best in the world. It costs $1,000,000 for one something like that. With these guys, they make it more affordable so anyone can have it, you know. And I've wanted one of these my whole life since I discovered synthesizers and discovered, you know, bands like Kraftwerk and composers like Wendy Carlos and stuff. Like they all used these. So as soon as I was able to, you know, get this, I slowly built it up. I mean, I didn't buy it all in one shot. I started very small. Like I had like 2 oscillators, an envelope generator, a filter, and an amp VCA, and then kind of let it grow from there. This took about 7-8 years.
So you can just add on other modules as you go with that?
Sure. I could add on other modules. I could add third-party modules on it from different companies, like Modular. I can even add Moog stuff to this too if I wanted to, but their stuff's really expensive. But if you could find like the vintage stuff, I mean, that's the stuff you want. Those are hard to get. But yeah, this is really easy to attain, and it does everything I want. It has the 60s style technology. It's all purely analog, nothing digital in there. This is completely voltage, you know, harness voltage. Yeah.
Now,
Howie,
rumor has it that
Ben Wallen, how are you? I know this guy very well.
all right. See,
All
they come out of the woodwork, man.
I love it.
Hey, rumor has it you're doing some soundtrack work these days. Is that right?
I am actually using all this stuff behind me. Doing some soundtrack work. I've been keeping busy doing that during the pandemic and, you know, the lockdown, all that. I was able to get a couple of you know, jobs doing that, but I'm working on one really big one right now that I can't really talk too much about at the moment. But we'll be able to say something about it pretty soon. It's come along really good. And
I see. Is that a death? What is that? Death masks behind you, or is that
which one?
On your that would be your left, I believe. Is that Jason? What is that?
No, that's Michael Myers.
Oh, Mike, I'm sorry. That's Halloween, right?
This is made by a New York artist named Jimmy Falco.
Okay, tell us about it.
He does all these replicas of Michael Myers masks from different movies. Like he'll do Halloween 1, Halloween 2, 3, 4, and 5. This is from Halloween 2. This is a replica of a William Shatner Don Post mask into a Michael Myers mask. Now, let me tell you about that. So the reason why it's a William Shatner mask, because back in the day when John Carpenter was making his film, Nick Castle, the prop production guy, was sent out to buy a bunch of masks to, you know, make Michael Myers character. So they settled on the William Shatner mask. That was a Captain Kirk mask. All he did was cut out the eyes, take some of the sideburns off, and wipe the face. There's Michael Myers.
Well, hey, Roy, if you freeze up, sign off and sign back on. All right.
Okay. I think we're all right. Anyway,
yeah,
I love Michael Myers. I love Star Trek. That's why I own this stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, tell us, did you grow up in a musical household? How did you come up, and how did music come into your life?
I mean, it was not really that musical. I mean, I wasn't really around instruments, but my mom and my dad used to play a lot of music. Like I predominantly like grew up listening to like a lot of R&B, like, you know, old Motown music and Burt Bacharach, Neil Diamond, Beatles, what was, you know, popular at the time. That was my parents were into, my mom especially. So she used to play tons of music for me when I was in the crib, you know, as a kid, just to kind of like, you know, mellow me out, because I used to, you know, cry, and, you know, that was one thing that would keep me quiet. And then she figured out after a while that I was like, you know, I was really into music, you know, I was beating on pots and pans, you know, beat my head against the crib, like, okay, this kid's a drummer. And then she kind of, you know, just kind of like helped me along, you know, the first few years, and got me a little drum. I went from there, you know, started playing to music. And, you know, my dad was a guitar player too before, when he was younger, but he didn't really take it that seriously.
And I got a shot here from December 76, and you look very young here playing the drums.
Yeah, I was 6 years old in that. That was Christmas. Like, I just, as you could tell, there's a Rock and Roll Over sticker of the Kiss album. I just got that record for Christmas from my brother because I was so into Kiss at that time. Like I discovered Kiss actually because my brother came home one day with a bunch of his friends. He walked past me as I'm watching, fucking cartoons, after school. He walks past me with the Destroyer record, which is the record before that. I'm like, what's that? What the fuck is that? It's like a bunch of monsters on a fucking cover playing rock and roll. I got to hear this. So of course I followed my brother and his group of friends, God knows what they're going to fucking do in there. But as soon as I got into the door, he turned around, looked at me. He's like, nah, get away, kid. It's going to give you nightmares. And he shuts the door on me. So what the fuck? So then I'm like, I got to hear this record. So I remember putting my ear to the door and I could hear God of Thunder for the first time. And after that, I was hooked.
Another guy that Kiss was sort of like the gateway, music to being a career musician.
Man. They really were the gateway for me, man. And after that, fucking game on. I discovered everything else after that, And then prior to getting this record, I saw them on like late at night. My brother would wake me up late at night to go to watch Don Kirshner's rock concert every now and then.
Oh,
and
yeah. Now we're talking.
So that was the first time I really got to see Kiss in action. So I was fully fucking blown away by this band. Like I'd never seen anything like this. And then of course the Paul Lynde special with Witchy Poo and Wicked Witch of the West had them on there. So I was all into them. I was already in by that point. Oh yeah. This picture, this is what, from 1980 or something like that.
I think this is 4 years later and looks like, is this your second kit?
No, this is the second kit. This is the real drum kit. But I had this kit. I got this kit when I was 8. Like a few years after that first picture you showed. Here I'm probably just playing to, at the time it's 1980. I was definitely playing to like Regatta to Blank by the Police. Like that was my record.
Probably
playing to Trick, playing to who knows.
Well, playing to the Police, Stuart Copeland was a great drummer, man.
Oh my God, he's one of my favorite drummers. He's the best.
Yeah. I just saw a Police documentary, and he was really great. He was a big part. The Police were an interesting band. He was an incredible drummer. They had an incredible guitar player, and they had an incredible front man.
All from different backgrounds in music.
Yeah.
It's seriously different backgrounds.
Actually, it was a Police documentary, but it was Andy Summers, the guitar player. It was his documentary about his life, and very interesting. He was older than those guys. He had like a whole career in like the 60s and all that, and he came into the Police like way older than those guys.
Right. I need to see that. I heard about that. I heard it's really good.
It was very good. It was very good. It was from his perspective, and I'm a friggin', I'm a documentary filmmaker, by nature. So I watch everything. The crappier, the better. Now here's the next in the series of Roy Mayorga behind the drum set in his youth shots. This is from, I think this is 1984, 4 years later, and you're rocking the Killing Joke shirt. That says a lot.
Yeah, I think that was definitely the crossfade into or definitely into industrial music and punk and all that. I have an older brother, so he was really into that stuff at the time too. So I always followed what he was into. Like he was playing me Killing Joke, Joy Division, Susie and the Banshees, Dead Kennedys, Black Flag, all punk stuff, all that stuff. Like that was all my world at that time. And by then I wasn't really listening to Kiss or metal or anything like that yet. I would say from like 1980 on, that's when I started getting more into this direction, like the Ramones and Devo and the Pistols and Clash and all those bands kind of diverted me to that way. You know what I mean?
And then of course, the next in our tour of photos, which is dated September 1986, we take a jump from Killing Joke to this.
Yeah, that was from my first band, Youthquake, which started in '85. That was like already a year into it.
Now, let me get the timeline straight. You were born in Forest Hills.
Yeah.
So you and I are kindred spirits, my man. And then your family moved to Philly area, exactly?
No. This is how it went. Like when I was about 4 or 5 years old, we moved out of Forest Hills. We moved to Florida. My dad had a job offer down there, so we lived there for a few years, and then my parents got separated, and then we moved up to Pennsylvania. We wanted to go to New York, but it just wasn't possible at the time. So we went to Pennsylvania, lived there for a few years. I lived in a town called Allentown.
Oh yeah, of course.
Whitehall. Lived there for about 5, 6 years, and that's basically where I grew to this. And then I eventually found my way to Philly, and then found my way back to New York on my own. But during that time, that picture, I was going to New York. I was going to Philly just to see bands and just get the subculture out there, because there wasn't that much of that where I was living. There was a nice small group of us in Allentown area, and it was great that I found a group to be with that we all thought the same. There was a punk scene there. It made life a lot easier to live there. It was great.
Is this Youthquake?
That's Youthquake, yeah.
And there you are, second on the left there. And this is cool. Just real quick, like, how did you fall into your first band? Like, what did that look like? And I'm assuming you're what here, 16?
There, I'm like 16. Yeah, that's right after that other photo you put on. This is probably like the winter time. I could tell that other photo you had was from like the summer.
Right.
I remember. Well, the guy that's on my right, not the guy with the bandana, but the guy on my right with the black cap.
Sure.
I met him in like winter of '85 at some mom and pop like punk record store, and I was buying a bunch of records, and I was talking to the guy behind the counter, and he's like, "Are you in a band?" I'm like, "No." I go, I'm looking to get in a band. He's like, "What do you play?" I play drums. And this guy was right behind me. He's like, "You play drums?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "I got a band. You want to play in it?" I'm like, "Yeah, absolutely." And that's how it started. And he lived like 3 floor blocks away from this record store, and we just got together at his friend's place in his basement, and set up there and just started jamming.
I have another Youthquake photo. Here we go. Which
I've acquired all these photos, by the way, that you're looking at in the last few years. I didn't have anything forever. Oh my God, yeah. That was in the abandoned train station in South Bethlehem, Pennsylvania.
Wow.
Yeah.
You and I were talking beforehand about, you sending me these pictures, and tell everybody, like, this was kind of like the first time you've gathered this stuff up, right?
I'm going to tell you guys, I was telling Drew earlier, like, this is so weird for me to put together. Like, it was weird to see my whole life chronologically in photos in front of me, like from beginning to now. It was pretty wild for me to see that. It's like, holy shit, like, whole evolution. You know what I mean? It's wild.
Yeah. It's awesome. And it's a great journey. It's a great journey. And I know a lot of people are proud of you, man, because, not a lot of us kind of came out of this scene and have really made a career of it. And, I and many other people obviously consider you're a career musician, and that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. Next,
hang on. There's Eric, who's in a band called Mugface. Him and I go way back. He's one of the first people I met in the scene in '85. Hi, Eric.
Lehigh Valley punks represent, right?
Love you, brother.
Yeah. There you go. This band is next on the tour, and this is what Mac Ray was talking about, and we're going to bring him on. And just this is World Made Flesh.
Word Made Flesh.
Yeah, tell us about how'd you fall into this crew with that double bass Yamaha set.
Okay, you guys up front, that was Youthquake. And how Word Made Flesh happened is because at the time, I think our bass player left the band, and we were kind of like, didn't know what to do. So we started just jamming, just the three of us.
Okay.
And we started doing like Ruts covers and Buzzcocks covers, and we started going more that direction of punk. So we had a more like late 70s, early 80s kind of sound to us at the time. And that guy to my left, that's my brother on guitar. So he joined the band, and we all started writing together. We didn't have a bass player for the first 2 months, so we used to go out and play shows like that. Then we got a bass player after that.
Got it.
I think that picture was from some a friend's birthday party. I think it was like around New Year's or something like that. It's great.
And let me bring Matt Gray on a second. Yo, Matt. Hey, Matt.
What's up,
dude?
Hey.
What's up, Roy? How we doing?
Yeah.
So,
Hey, what do you got for Roy, Matt?
well, you were the first hardcore band I ever saw at Oliver J's.
Really?
Love Oliver J's, man. Right? So my first hardcore show was ever at Oliver J's. Over the years, I remember you in the pit with your mohawk and everything like that. And over at the bingo hall. Loved Airport Bingo Hall. Wally's Place in Bethlehem. I'm from Lake Wallenpaupack, hour and a half north of Allentown area. Anyway, I got that.
Oh, wow, yeah. That's the second incarnation of Word Made Flesh, by the way.
Okay.
And I heard
on here, did you play bass, or there was another Roy, or?
No, I played bass on that, and the reason why that happened is because when I already moved to New York at that point, I was in Nausea. That came out like 90, 91. My brother moved to New York, and he reformed Word Made Flesh with a couple other different people. He had Jay from Apple on vocals. He had me on bass and another drummer named Jimmy James. So we decided to do it that way. So we made another version of it. Yeah, and that's what that is.
Right on. Yeah, I picked up.
What you saw, the picture you saw before, that's the original version of Word Made Flesh. It's different.
Got it. Right
Hey,
on.
I got this one's kind of interesting here. This photo. There's Ray B's, right? And there's a young Roy, and you have a very concerned you have a very concerned look on your face. Could you tell us why?
I'll explain why. Well, first off, that was the first time I ever met Ray, and and Lukey Luke and all that whole crew, like guys from Bold and Judge, were on this show as well. Word Made Flesh played this show, and the promoter was telling us, "Look, we want to keep the stage clean and quick, for changeover, because there's a million bands on this." I'm like, "Would you be into letting the bands use your drums?" I'm like, "Fuck yeah, they can use my drums." And they use some of our amps and stuff like that. I think this is like, probably like they're the last band, obviously. So that my face there, I'm going like, please don't break my drums, because everybody's beating the fuck out of these drums all fucking day long. But I loved every minute of it, and it was great, man. That was the first time I met Ray. We've been friends, up until he passed away, and that was a great day, man. I was at Oliver J's actually.
I was at Oliver J's, yeah.
Yeah, that's what
that
this
picture that someone gave me.
Oliver, this is what David said. Oliver J's show. Yeah, I guess so, huh?
Yeah, I just got that picture just a few years ago. Someone sent that to me. I'm like, wow, man, that's so wild. Yeah, crazy. What's this?
All right, Matt. We'll see you in a bit, buddy.
Excellent.
Thanks. And yo,
dude, nice to meet you, man.
You better talk to me tonight about this friggin' gig, bro.
All right, relax.
Don't make me come out there to Pennsylvania and take your wife and kid hostage. I'll see you later.
To the ladies.
Could you imagine being in a band with me, man?
I can handle you.
Yeah. You fucking answer my call, I'm going to take your fucking kid hostage. I'm
always the guy. I always answer back. I always text back. I always call.
Yeah, man. He'll talk to the other guys. He'll talk to the other guy. He'll talk to me. But anyway, let's move on. Let's talk about. And I know chronologically we're not going to be able to stop everywhere. But sure. Of course, one thing that we absolutely have to talk about. Let's start it with a photo. Yeah, let me start it with a good photo. Yeah, we'll start it with this one. Tell us about the history and how you ended up in this band.
Nausea. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, at the time, well, I just actually, I ran into them and saw them at Oliver J's, just like maybe a year prior to me being in it. And this is when it was just Amy and Vic, and Jimmy Williams was on drums, and John on bass. And I thought they were great, man. I love this band. I'm like, this is like Discharge, Crucifix, Crass, like all those fucking bands rolled into one. I love it. And fast forward a year later, I'm living in Philly. This is like, when is this? 89, summer of 89 by that point. And one of my good friends, you know, I was staying with at the time, this guy named Sean Roberts. You do definitely have a picture of him. You can show that.
Yeah, and you sent me. I do have the picture. You sent me the Sean Roberts picture, and I didn't know what the context was.
He's like,
what?
I'll get to that.
Well, yeah. Go ahead.
Anyway, Sean was really tight with the guys and with John, and I guess they were talking, and he got wind that they needed a drummer because I think at the time Jimmy was off just going with Maximum Penalty. There he is, Sean, my man. He was off doing Maximum Penalty, so they needed a guy. And Sean's like, I got the guy, you know. He's like, well, you know, set him up, introduce me to him. He's like, well, you've already met him. And he's like, oh, cool, I remember that kid. And we talked on the phone, me and John for a minute. And I borrowed $20 off my friend Sean. I took the SEPTA NJ train to meet John to do the auditions that weekend. And actually, I went and took the night train. So I got dropped off at Penn Station probably like 5, 6 in the morning. And from there, I took a taxi to halfway to like St. Mark's Astor Place, something like that, and walked from there to 2nd Street and Avenue B to Save the Robots, where John was working at the time.
Oh, wow.
He was working there too. I'm like, oh, this is fucking amazing. I basically was my introduction to that part of New York, and I met and saw everybody that night. It was great.
If I may interject, for those out there that may not know, Save the Robots was a after-hours club in the Lower East Side that did not open until 2 in the morning, if I remember correctly.
3 in the morning.
It would open at
3:30, 8:30.
It would open at 3:30, and you'd go and you'd hang out basically till 9 in the morning. And you know, I remember I smoked a joint with David Lee Roth and Save the Robots at 7 o'clock in the morning in like 1980 whatever 5 or something,
wow.
You know, 4 or something, you know. So yeah, Save the Robots was I didn't know John worked there. I didn't know that.
Yep, he worked there, and he eventually got me a job there too. So I was working there too at one point. He got all his friends jobs there, and it was cool though. So after that, you know, obviously, we hooked up with Amy, and Amy took me back to their place in Staten Island, and I stayed overnight there. We both drove into the city, went to like one of those hourly rehearsal places, like I think American Studios. There she is. Took me to American Studios. I tried out for the band. I got the gig, and I went back home, packed all my shit, moved up to New York, stayed in Staten Island for like the first few months, and then I ended up getting a place with John and a bunch of people downtown, New York, Manhattan, with the Radix. I don't know if you guys remember the Radix in New York. They lived there too.
Of course.
So we had a cool little compound. Rest is history, man.
Yeah, and of course, you know, New York was still pretty grimy when you came, you know, at that point. Of course, yeah, absolutely.
I caught the tail end of all that. This picture's from one of the CBGB show. As you can tell, it's really hot. I have no fucking shirt on. It's pretty brutal in that place. Yeah, I mean, I got to see real grimy New York City from the mid '80s on till I moved out. You know, I was lucky to see a lot of cool stuff in that city. I was lucky to experience a lot of the subculture that was going on at that time and meet a lot of cool people who I'm still friends with to this day. You know, unfortunately, some of them are not around anymore, which sucks. It sucks when you get that phone call every few months or every few years, you know. At this point in my life, I tried my best to keep in touch with everybody I used to know. That's where I'm at these days.
Right on. Can you give us a little perspective on like Nausea, touring, and like what was it like to be in this band at this kind of moment? Because correct me if I'm wrong, but Nausea seems like one of those bands that in retrospect, everyone's like, it was an incredible band, it was an influential band, it was amazing, and this and that. But at the time, it looked like it was a little bit of a struggle to get this stuff done.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't really. We toured. We did 2 tours in Europe, and they were both great. You know, we didn't really tour that much in the States. I mean, we would do some weekend stuff like tri-state area shit. We do like Connecticut shows, or Boston shows. Maybe I've done 2 Canadian shows with them, and then the next biggest tour we did in the U.S. was the West Coast, and that was in like the end of 1990, and that was about it. I do a lot of like local shows mostly,
yeah.
But the biggest venture out for us was definitely Europe. I mean, that was my first real tour ever. Nausea was the band that I busted my cherry on as far as recording in a real recording studio, making vinyl of record.
Yeah.
Doing a van tour in Europe. They're the first band I did this with. Yeah. So they're very special, man. Yeah. All those bands. Every band I've ever been a part of is special to me, you know.
I love this photo.
This photo is great. I can tell you what happened here. We're on our way to rehearsal, probably waiting for Victor, as it looks like, because I remember I think John and I were living with Alan Roger. I think that's where Roger just kind of took us into Manhattan, dropped us off, and he hung out with us. This is on the Led Zeppelin steps, the Physical Graffiti steps.
Oh, right on St. Mark's.
Yeah, this is 1990. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. I see Amy's got a rose there. I wonder if I assume Roger gave that to her.
Yeah, he did for sure.
All right.
That's when I started getting to really know Roger at that time. He just came home from got out of the joint at that time, and that's how him and I got to really know each other.
I just saw Roger the other day. I was in Arizona the other day.
He's awesome, man. He's a great dude.
Hey, tell us if this guy here in this photo with you. You know what? I'll do the intro here, okay? Let me
Victor.
Let me do the intro here to this guy. Recently, this is Vic Venom, and Vic plays in a band now. We were doing an A7 show when we were doing last year, whatever it was, and Vic's in another band called DIY and Breed, right?
Yeah.
And with Lawrence, who actually is on I see him in the chat room. There you go. Is that right? J. Lawrence Brandt. There he is. And
Batman.
Yeah.
AKA Batman. What up, Dad?
Yep. And so a very young crowd has been coming to these A7 shows, right? Like, because it's nice. There's a whole new generation of kids coming to these shows, and these guys are setting up to play. And I said, listen, I said, this guy right here, this is Vic Venom. I said, Reagan Youth, Nausea, like this guy is hell bent.
Don't forget Hellbent and Sacrilege.
Right.
The predecessors to Nausea.
Right. And he's like Jerry Williams, JW. He's like one of the unsung heroes of New York City punk and hardcore. Absolutely.
Yeah. He's probably one of the most phenomenal guitar players I've ever played with. I mean, when I first seen him play with Nausea before I was in the band, I was like, who the hell is this guy? I mean, he's got like this fucking like fast Tony Iommi. He's got this Tony Iommi edge on him, like just naturally. And he's got such a fluid way of playing leads, and he's just got crazy pocket, man. And to play with them was awesome,
Hoya Rock from Madball says Roy's a smart punk, no squat needed in resume. What's up, Hoya?
Hoya, man.
Yep.
What's up, Hoya?
Did you live in which squat were you in?
I was in a couple different ones, man. They didn't really have names or anything to them. I mean, the first one I lived
Was
in.
that one on 9th Street with Roger?
I didn't live at that one. Let me explain this to you. I actually came up to New York in the wintertime before even joining Nausea or even knew that was even an option. It was like January of '88. And the reason why it ended up there, I was living in Philly at the time. I was helping doing like construction on a boutique clothing store called Unique, which I think anyone from New York would remember that.
Sure.
So they were building one on South Street in Philly, and their crew was all from New York City, and a lot of them were squatter kids. And there was one English contractor guy. I can't remember his name right now, but he hired all these like squatter punk guys. And I told him I want to get the fuck out of here. I want to go up to New York. I want to get back to my place where I belong. He said, "Well, you can come live with me for a bit." So I started squatting over on this place on 7th Street between B and C. I can't remember the name. But it was in a pretty dodgy neighborhood, as you can remember. 1988.
7th Street, B and C, man. Yeah.
So I lived in the basement in this like place about the size of this room, no windows. There was a space heater there. I brought my sleeping bag. He had his sleeping bag, and we had a hot plate, and that was it. And I'm like, okay, this is what I gotta fucking do to get up here. Fuck it, So I lived there for a little bit, and then he ended up leaving town and going to work somewhere else. I'm like, you're gonna have to find somewhere else to stay. I'm like, all right, fine. So I ended up living in another squat on 11th Street between B and C with a bunch of people, and Frenchie was one of them.
Oh boy,
that's where I first met Frenchie, and a bunch of other people like Heather and this guy named Yoda used to live there. A bunch of old cats there, and then they kind of made friends around there. And who else lived there? Fuck, it's been such a long time, man. But yeah, I did that for a little while. But then I stayed around for until about for about 2 months, till about March or something like that. And like, I'm just gonna go back home for a minute and get make some more cash and come back maybe. So I was trying to get a job up there too while I was up there, and I couldn't get a job there. I know where to fucking. And I was like, fuck this. I was playing with some people here and there, but nothing to really cry home about. And I was like, kind of like, you know what? I'll go back to Philly for a minute, and then I'll come back. And then I did. I ended up coming back a few months later. I got, I had a better reason to come back. I wasn't going in it blind like I did before, but I didn't mind.
Want to shout out our friend JJ from Discharge over there on Stoke on Kent. What's up, JJ?
Oh, you know what? It's funny he's mentioning this hot dog because
what is that?
Hot dog is an old woman that used to old little black woman that used to live in Tompkins Square Park that all of us knew. Her name was Hot Dog, and somehow her name came up. She's like like this old homeless woman that used to live there, and she was out of her fucking mind. Some days where she's actually nice, or some days where she's just straight up just mental and just not aggro. Yeah, even Todd, you remember Hot Dog, right?
That's funny.
Yeah.
That must be great.
He always try to run up and kiss me. I'm always like, ah! Like, fuck.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean that's kind of great. I mean that you and JJ were sort of friends back in the day. And then
we didn't know each other. We didn't know each other.
Oh, you didn't? Okay.
No, we have a lot of mutual friends. We just got to know each other in the last 2 years, and it just so happens that we have a lot of mutual friends, but we never crossed paths, which is fucking bizarre.
Okay.
Yeah.
Our good friend Ryan Bland from Ake says, Roy was one of the first people I ever met when I came into the scene. Roy has always supported me, and I love and miss you, man. Super proud of you.
Oh, man, Ryan. Oh, man, I miss Ryan, too, man. I miss you, too, brother.
That's cool, man.
Can't wait to see you face to face.
Hey, Roy, let me take a break and shout out my sponsors for a minute or two here, and we'll come back and we will continue in our quest, okay?
Right on.
All right. It's the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live. What's happening, everybody? It is Shout Out Sunday. Let's have some fun. That's what we're here for, right? We are sponsored by New York Hardcore Comics, The Organic Grill, the Texas Silver Rush, Chain Reaction Records and Skateboards, DTFM Vinyl Distro, Chacho's Tacos, and Now, Generation Records. Since 1992, Generation Records has been a mainstay on the New York metropolitan area music scene. Today, they offer a diverse selection of new and used rock, jazz, indie, hip-hop, punk, hardcore, metal, blues, soundtrack, and reggae LPs, as well as t-shirts, posters, and other merchandise. Do you have the merchandise? They buy used record collections and music memorabilia and will pay you top dollar for them. I can attest for that because I just brought them all my crap. I was like, you know what? Take my crap. Give me a couple bucks for my crap. House calls made for large collections in the tri-state area. Call or email generationrecords@gmail.com and follow them on Facebook and Instagram. Welcome. Generation Records, our newest sponsor. Also, how about it? Get up, get down, Chacho's Tacos. Located in Corpus Christi, Texas, Chacho's Tacos opened the doors in 2001, home of the almighty Chacho's Taco. They cook up an incredible home-style Tex-Mex food, and this month they're celebrating their 20th anniversary. They've been supporting underground music since the beginning, and in their own words, we ain't stopping anytime soon. Touring bands that play Corpus Christi, swing by and get a home-cooked meal at Chacho's Tacos. We got you. The underground scene will never die. Please follow us on Facebook or on Instagram. And while we're at it, Vlad and the Organic Grill. It's a vegan restaurant located at the East Village in New York City at what? Oh, great. First Avenue. Featured in New York Magazine, New York Times, and everybody's favorite publication, Veg News. Their dishes have won numerous awards. Numerous. Including Best Veggie Burger. They make their own cheeses. You want cheese on that? Cheeses, sausages, and burger patties, and every dish on the menu could be made gluten-free for all you gluten-free motherfuckers. This year, they're celebrating their 20th anniversary, and they're all about having a great time while enjoying amazing, clean food. Clean food. I want clean food. I don't want to eat any more dirty food. After 3 months of being closed, they're now open for deliveries. Get in touch with them, order some great food at www.theorganicgrill.com. That said, that's a good one. I pray to Jesus. Yes, I pray to Jesus. Shout out to my bad left knee. Okay. Upstate Rick, what's up, man? I shouted you out. What's happening? Sorry, guys, I had PT. I assume that would be physical therapy, but now I'm here. Well, now you're here, and now we can really get down with the show. I want to announce another upcoming show, Sunday, May 23rd. Kate 108 coming on the show. Something a little bit different. Kind of tired of talking to all these dudes. Let's bring a Goyle on the show. So Kate's coming on the show. Looking forward to it. Project Kate 108. That said, I want to announce a new show. It is new. And if you are a patron, if you were on my Patreon page, you would know about this already. So this is happening brand new. Get your shoes and socks on, kids. It's right around the corner. Something a little bit different here. I think you can handle this. I think take my hand. Take my hand. Wednesday, June 30th. Steve Birnbaum is on the show. Who, you may ask? Well, Steve Birnbaum has a page on Instagram that I really love called The Band Was Here. And he goes back to all these original locations where all these band photos were shot, and he sort of lines it up and recreates it. He's done like hundreds of them. And this show is going to be a little different. It's going to be very rich in music history because a lot of these locations that he shot in are in New York. And being a New York historian myself, I gravitated to this This is going to be a little bit different. This is going to be very cool. As you can see, all you Kiss fanatics, there's Kiss and Oasis, but he's done a lot of. Do I have another shot of this? Hold on. Let me see if I got another one of this. No, I don't. All right. So, yeah, something a little bit different. Also, of course, I want to mention, gotta do it. It's what keeps the show going. There is a Patreon page. Feel free to support this show. You like this show? This show likes you. Support it. There is a Patreon page. Patreon. Let me line myself up. Let me line myself up properly so I could pitch. And the wind up. Patreon is our community within the community. Support the show. I post all kinds of never before seen photos and videos, and we do every other Wednesday. We do special Patreon only shows. If you enjoy the show, please don't just be a lurker. Come in from the shadows. Come in from the cold. Support the show. That's what enables this fucking show to happen. Your support. And I know I promised not to swear so much because I know there's a lot of kids watching the show now. And I promised that I wouldn't swear so much, but it happens. It happens. What else? Oh, you know what crossed my mind? Well, no, I didn't want to get into that. No. What else? Oh, recent patrons. Federico Daniel Nogara Giordano, a.k.a. Clint Eastwood. Welcome aboard. Thank you for your support on Patreon. Deborah Kane, David Jaggi, No Redeeming Social Value, Mikey X, Sachin Agrawal, Mariam, and Billy G from Biohazard. Also on PayPal, Scott Gajowski, Mark Tulch, Raymond Hogan, Ira Kogan, what's up, Ira, and Kenneth Dutton. Please don't be shy. Support the show. Also, there is a what do you call it? Super chat. If you're in the now and you want, it's a good way to support the show. If you do a super chat, I think it's a couple bucks, whatever you want to put into it. But it comes up in color. If you got a question for Roy, there's no way I can miss it. You do a super chat, I guarantee you we'll ask the question. Or if you just want to, support the. What happened, man? Hold on a second. Yeah, his Misfits one is great with the photos from 1979. Blew my mind. His IG is great. Yeah, it's the band. It's check out Instagram at The Band Was Here. His page is incredible. We're gonna have a really fun show. 1-800-NAUSEA. By the way, Drew, love your show. Well, thanks. The show loves you, man. I'm assuming you're a man. You could be a woman. The show loves you, sweetheart. A Discharge Godzilla show. Okay. Shout out to all the hot moms out there in Momland. Okay. All right. That's not too. Yep. All right. Let me see what else. Yes, male. Okay, good. Everyone's welcome here. Mutants, cyborgs, hybrids. Welcome to the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live. I think I covered everything, right? Let's get back to it. Hey, don't worry, Sid. I see you, man. Relax there, brother. Everybody get a little busy with themselves. Chris Contos, what's up? Hey, what's up, Roy?
Yo, what's up?
Chris Contos, what's up, man?
What's up, Chris?
Yo, there's a heavy hitter right there, Roy.
Dude, he's fucking amazing, dude. He's an amazing drummer, dude. Ridiculous. You're ridiculous, Chris. I've always thought that. I've always told you that.
Those guys got the brakes put on their little reunion there, man. That sucks. Yeah. So what happens after nausea? Like, how does that sort of how does that sort of flit out, and what happens next in your career?
Well, when Nausea, I mean, when we officially stopped, I mean, I gotta say, like, once Amy left the band, it was just the four of us, and then we put out one more record, and then we just kind of went our separate ways after that. And that kind of left me and John not really knowing what we wanted to do, but then we started, you know, playing around with different styles of music, and I got my brother into the picture. He had some like synthesizers and was into industrial music, and so were we. So we started kind of writing more of that kind of stuff, and then we got Stefan Flam from Winter and drug him into the group, and then he added his flavor, and that how Thorn became, you know, basically.
So Thorn kind of came from the ashes of Nausea, and wasn't Thorn a Roadrunner band?
We became a Roadrunner band like a year and a half later after we started. Originally we had one EP out on Dutch East India through an imprint label called Lungcast. Lungcast Records was an imprint from Neil Burke, who was a bass player for a band called Menace Dement, and he was also part of Born Against. He was a really good friend of ours, so he got us our first EP out, and then from there we went on to Roadrunner.
And the Thorn thing, that how did that go?
In what respect? What do you mean?
Like, you did 2 records, and you know, Thorn, like we talked about this earlier, is one of those bands you got to talk to him about Thorn, and then you said sort of like at the time Thorn didn't really kind of get the momentum we hoped for, right?
No, it didn't. I mean, we tried. You know, we played a lot of shows around town. We did a couple of out of town shows, but not much. You know, we just basically just tried to build ourselves in New York first, and we just got to a certain point and just kind of fizzled away. You know, by then, like after we made the Roadrunner record, you know, we were definitely playing more shows. We're starting to play out of town, like playing Ohio and stuff like that, but we didn't do it a lot though, and we couldn't get the momentum going on that. But we still kept going with it no matter what, you know, and just tried our best to really make it work. And a few years after we made the record, you know, we made a couple more demos. Nothing really came from them, you know. We tried everything we could, you know. And then by then I was working a lot, you know, between Wetlands and CB's and Coney Island High. I was doing front of house there. And after a while, I found myself venturing out, playing with other different, you know, groups and stuff like that. And Shelter was one of them. It was the first group that I went to, that I ended up playing with after that.
And that would be, here's a shot of you playing drums with Shelter. There's Purcell with the Knicks jersey and Ray Capo. That's sort of an interesting fit that you'd land in Shelter.
Yeah, that came about pretty suddenly. I think that happened. That was through Mackie.
Oh, Mackie was in before you?
He was in right before me.
Because I remember I saw them with Mackie. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
He was in right before me. I think at that time he was just crossing over into playing with Fun Lovin' Criminals at the time. Mm-hmm. And he knew I was kind of like, you know, looking around for, you know, to play and stuff like that. And he told me that these guys were looking for a drummer. So he gave me Ray's number. I mean, I already knew Ray and Purcell from before anyway, so it wasn't like I never knew them. So it was cool. So I talked to Ray and we worked out, you know, audition day. I learned whatever record was out at the time. I think it was Mantra was out. And I learned a bunch of songs from that record and a bunch of Youth of Today songs, because it's in the set, and a bunch of other songs from like their earlier records. And then I just showed up and played, you know, 4 or 5 of them. And then I got the gig. And then I went on tour with them in Europe to help them support the record for Mantra.
Yeah, Shelter's a great live band for sure.
Yeah, they're great. I loved playing with them. They're really fun. I loved playing with Thorn too, man. It was awesome. I wish it could have, you know, done a bit more. You know, like I really love the material I made with John and Stefan. It was great stuff. You know, I really love a lot of the songs. I actually been listening to it a lot recently and was just reminiscing on the times and what we went through to record those songs and to write them. And we did a lot of cool stuff together. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Two quick things.
Hang on, this is a fun photo. I can
Yeah,
tell
go
you,
ahead.
this photo is from outside of Stone Pony, I think, for one of the first Warped tours. And this is Franklin, the bass player, helping me with my shit into the club.
Oh, I forgot that Shelter played on the Warped Tour.
That was the second Warped Tour, I think, or maybe the
Yeah.
first. It was H2O, Downset. I think Hepcat was on this. A bunch of bands, some shit like that. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Let me our resident historian Chucky Brown, just a note here for everyone out there, says also when Nausea broke up, his ex-bandmate Vic Venom played with Chaos UK and plays now with the Coffin Daggers.
That's correct. Yeah. Vic went right to Chaos UK once Nausea was done. And that happened because a year prior to that, or actually probably, but a year after we broke up and a year before he joined Chaos UK, Gabba from Chaos UK was in New York City. He came to US just to, hang out, I guess. And he was out west with Poison Idea, hanging out with them and playing shows with them, I guess. And he flew back to New York, but he ran out of money. He couldn't get back to England. So I had the idea of putting the Nausea guys together, the rhythm section, me, John, and Vic, and have Gabba just front two shows. And the money we made from that, we gave that money to him to buy tickets to get home.
That's awesome.
So we were called Chaos USA.
Oh, that's awesome.
And we played two shows. I think we played Wetlands and one other place. It might have been ABC No Rio or something like that. But we played those two shows, and we used that. He took that money and bought himself a plane ticket home.
Got the poor bastard home, huh?
Yeah, he's fucking stuck with us for a few weeks. He slept on my floor for like a week, 2 weeks.
Here's a super chat from Dave Muggsy Cluwell. Thanks.
Yeah.
He asks, didn't you try out for Agnostic Front on guitar at this time? Love you, Roy. LV, proud of you. Is that right?
I love you too, Dave. Yeah, that is right. I did try out for them while I was still in Nausea. I love Agnostic Front. I love that band. I always loved that band. And there was at the time I think Matt wasn't in the band yet, and they were looking for guitar players and they were auditioning guitarists. And Nausea was rehearsing in the same hourly place as AF was when they were doing auditions. And I got wind that they were doing auditions, so I didn't really say anything to anyone. I just sat in my room and just learned like a bunch of shit from Victim in Pain and some stuff from Cause for Alarm. And I go over to Raj. I'm like, dude, I want to try out. He's like, you want to try out? I'm like, I'm going to try out. So I borrowed the guitar player that was there trying out. I borrowed his guitar. I played 4 songs at AF, and it was like I did Victim in Pain. I think I did Eliminator and Public Assistance and fucking Last Warning. And they're like, wow. I'm like, do I get the gig? They're like, oh, we'll talk about it. I'm like, oh, fuck. But anyway, I didn't get the gig, but it was definitely a fun time to play those songs with those guys. It was fucking great, man. Will Shepler was playing drums. Fucking Craig was on bass. It was fucking sick, dude.
That's awesome.
I was listening to a record when I was playing with them loud and live. It was awesome.
Hey, while we're at it,
I didn't get the gig.
Yeah. Well, and who ended up getting it was Wildcard, right? Matt Henderson.
Matt fucking Henderson got the gig, rightfully so, and fucking kicks ass.
Yeah, man. He's
made fucking great records with Matt. Matt, you fucking rule. You are awesome.
Yeah, Matt, that was really his entree to New York hardcore, and he ended up in Madball, and he was a big point of Madball. Hey, absolutely. let's do album of the week with Sid the Kid, huh? What's up, Sid?
What up, Drew? What's going on? Hey, Roy boy, it's been a minute, man. How you been?
Sid,
it's been quite a long time, man.
Wow, man. I don't think I've seen you in almost like 25, 26 years, at least.
Wow,
dude, those wetland, just like talking about the Wetlands days and like Coney Island High, like we have history at these clubs. Like, damn,
like,
and even
kid, I saw you, dude.
Jimmy G gave me the nickname. He was always stuck.
He's no longer Sid the Kid. It's like the Beastie Boys, you know, they're like the Beastie Men now. He's really like Sid. He's like Sid the guy now, or Sid the man.
No, it's always, hey, anybody says different, talk to Jimmy about that, because I'm always gonna be Sid the Kid. So
I feel, you know why? Because my nickname's been Roy Boy since I was like in fucking kindergarten, and it's carried all time. Jimmy calls me Roy Boy. Everyone's called me Roy Boy my whole life. I'm 51 years old being called.
Do people
Roy
still
Boy.
call you that, Roy?
Oh yeah, people like anyone from the scene, like Jimmy and all those guys, they call me Roy Boy for sure.
Yeah. Hey, before we get into this, Sid, let me do this this super chat from Stuart Wall, Roy. And I know we're sort of I'm not sure how this goes chronologically, but let's deal with this. How was recording with medication? Was there a paranormal experience in LA? I'm addicted to those type of shows. My own experience is hard to talk about.
How was recording medication? Well, I mean, I just moved to LA in '99, and it was like when I kind of veered off from Soulfly for like a short period, and I just moved here. I just came here with just my drums and suitcase, and that reason was to play with those guys. It was actually with Whit from Ugly Kid Joe, who also was in Life of Agony just before. Logan Mader from Machine Head.
That's right. Yeah.
Mark Blunt from Day in a Life was in it, and Robert Trujillo was on bass.
Wow.
This is when he was moonlighting during Ozzy. You know, this is like when he had his off time.
And Robert was in Suicidal and Infectious Grooves before that.
That's right. So yeah, that was a really short-lived thing. That was really cool. We got to play some shows. We recorded an EP. I wrote an EP with those guys. There was a record that was made after I was not in it anymore. Josh Freese was playing bass, drums on that.
Right. That's not bad.
It's fun.
Yeah. Hey, Sid, let's do album of the week, huh?
Oh yeah.
All right, here we go, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. You asked for it, you got it. Sid the Kid, album of the week. Boom. There you go.
Boom, motherfucker.
That's a great record.
Oh, well, there you see. I told you, Roy.
I told you, Drew. I know what I was talking about.
All right, go ahead, Sid. You're on.
All righty, guys. So, you know, when you think hardcore from the early 80s, well, if you say Agnostic Front, you would be correct. But this band is one of the prime examples of hardcore coming out of England at exactly the same time. This is the second Broken Bones EP entitled Decapitated, as it says right there. It was recorded and released in 1983 by Fallout Records. You know, it's 3 songs on this record, but honestly, you know, when the band started up at this time, Bones left Discharge to start a new band, obviously, what you're seeing right here. And of course, his brother Tez, you know, followed along with him. So many singers were in the band in the course of the career of it. But obviously, those who know this band know is that one singer that everybody does, and the voice of the band was Navi. And, you know, and you'll always hear it within these songs as well. And the EP is an absolute, to me, the absolute beginning of real UK hardcore, then pushing over to the crossover button, you know, later on. Between the blistering drums and guitar riffs that can melt your fucking face off, I dare anyone, even watching this show, what band in England at that time could put out something better than this at that specific time? I fucking dare you.
Knock it off. I dare you. Like that old battery commercial.
Oh, Drew, you're muted. We can't hear you, Drew.
Sorry.
There he is.
Sorry about that. Roy, does this resonate with you? Tell us about it.
Yeah, I mean, this record this is the first record I got from them, and then I've got the other ones after that. But this is definitely special. And as Sid said, I mean, at this time, I was really listening to this and the Dehumanization album by Crucifix, which came out like probably about the same year. Like those were the records I was really into at that time. I was like, it's sick. Yeah, that and what was the other one? This band called The Stupids. You remember them, Sid? UK
it rings
hardcore?
A bell.
Yeah,
I would believe so.
They kind of fall into that, but yeah, but Broken Bones were definitely, you know, a sound to be reckoned with. It was like Discharge on fucking, like, you know, just really hyper and just, you know, Nobby fucking sounded great in that band.
Yeah, from the live. I mean, there's a few live sets here and there from back in the day with Nobby singing. He just like lets it all the fuck out. He does not just stand there with the mic. He'll like jump into the crowd with the mic and possibly beat the shit out of you. Like he just went the fuck off. Like he had that energy and it.
But
no, go ahead, Roy.
Is the only person that I've ever known that's seen them live was John actually. I think he's seen him at CB's when they played. I think he was there from what I remember. He told me. He said they were pretty fucking on fire. And he and basically just walking across the crowd, like literally on their heads, back and forth from the stage to the crowd. Some shit.
That would be.
Go on, Sid.
That would be Nobby. Like, you know, it's just that voice, like those early recordings. You hear it, you know it's Broken Bones. Like, and once again, I mean,
I actually have in my archive. Hold on, I got some Broken Bones. Here you go. Here's one of them with Nobby singing right here. Boom. There you go.
Fuck yeah, there it is.
Yeah, man. Yep.
And one of the few bands that's allowed to wear their own band shirt on stage and get away with it.
Yeah.
You got to promote, man.
Exactly. Well, you know, smaller bands apparently it's corny, but when you're a big enough band, you're allowed. You get the okay to wear it.
I never knew that was a problem.
Whoever made up that fucking rule is a cornball.
I've always seen bands back then like wear their own band T-shirts live or wherever, wear their own band names on their jackets to kind of represent their fucking group. I don't know. I never seen.
Oh yeah, no. Like, I mean, if you're not playing a show, it's one thing. But apparently,
you know.
But apparently,
here's another one. Here's another one
now.
with Nobby. There's Nobby.
Wow, look at that! Look at that colored hair.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, to this day, he's still blondie. Like every time I see him.
Yep. All right, Sid. Good work, Sid.
Oh, it is Shout Out Sunday, Drew. From what I remember.
Yeah, go ahead.
And there's only one shout out I'm giving. It is, of course, to my mom. You know, and of course, all the mothers out there. You know, if you haven't made that phone call yet, get on it, or it's your ass.
All right, Sid. We'll talk to you later.
Thanks a lot, guys. Cheers.
Good to see you, man.
All right, take care, Roy.
Good to see you, brother.
All right, Sid the Kid in the house, you know.
That's good to see him, man. I haven't seen him so long, man. That's great.
Yeah. I know we're sort of I know we're poking around here, but let's talk about this band here and how this came to be.
Soulfly. Yeah. That came about how do you want me to start this? Because there's many different ways to get into this.
I don't know, man. Whatever makes sense to you, brother.
All right, first off, well, this picture was taken outside of the studio we recorded at. This is from 1997, and October. We're recording the first Soulfly record at a place called Indigo Ranch Studios in Malibu Canyon. There's a little backstory on the Indigo Ranch. It was owned by Moody Blues back in the day. Neil Young, all those guys used to record to this place, and I think Richard Chaplin is the guy that used to own it, and Chuck Johnson was the studio engineer. Ross Robinson was one that was producing us and engineering. Before us, he recorded Korn there, and after us, he did Slipknot there, Limp Bizkit, all these bands in the 90s recorded their records there. So we recorded there. I got involved with this through Monty Connor, the A&R person for Roadrunner Records, who signed Sepultura.
Who was always a big proponent of Sepultura. I mean, he signed Sepultura to Roadrunner. You know, he was always a big Sepultura. You know, he was their biggest flag waver, man, for sure.
Yeah, but prior to this, though, how I came into the picture, I was friends with all those guys. You know, I've known them since like the Arise days. You know, when I was in Nausea, they were Sepultura. They used to like Nausea. I used to love Sepultura. We got introduced to each other at what's that, New Titans on the Block show. I think it was Sick of It All and Napalm Death. It was at the Ritz in 53rd Street when Ritz moved. We've all met each other there, kept in touch with each other over the years after that. And I was explaining this before about the Sepultura remix that I made, which led me to Soulfly. When I was recording the Thorn album, I just bought some new gear. I bought a sampler by a company called Akai. It was an Akai S1000. I had a little bit of cash from, you know, the recording budget. I had like $1,000 to spend, so I bought this sampler that was actually previously owned by the Beastie Boys, by the way.
Oh, there you go.
Cool. So I used this sampler. I sampled the intro drums of Refuse Resist just to hear what this sampler sounded like, and I started doing this loop with it. I started looping that beginning, and I wrote this whole like weird, like deep house samba kind of drum and bass thing around this rhythm, and I made this like 2-part like kind of sketch. I'm like, well, I think I got something here. So then I gave that tape to Monty and asked him what he thinks of it. He's like, it's pretty cool. What do you want to do with it? I'm like, I don't know. And I said, there's this, you know, this trend of like remixes going on for metal bands these days, like making these weird like techno dance remixes. What do you think if I did something like that? He's like, well, that's a good idea. I think that'd be really cool. So he sent the tape to the guys. The guys okayed it. And then Monty gave me the actual 2-inch reels of the album. And I just went I went and rented a studio, and I took all 24 tracks separately onto a DAT machine, onto a DAT tape at the time. Went back home, took all vocals, guitars, drums, and reassembled it how I wanted it and made a remix for them. And they used this remix as an intro to their show, or the intro to the song Refuse Resist. And then, you know, I've always thought that was cool that they did that. I remember seeing them do that for the first time and hearing my track through the PA with their music. I'm like, this is fucking great. And we always kept in touch with, you know, from there, and, you know, ran into each other on the road. Ran into each other on the road a bunch of times when I was on tour with Shelter, when they were supporting Roots. We played some shows with us there. And, you know, Max and I always talked about, like, you know, we should do something on the side, you know, kind of like Nail Bomb. You know, this is before he, you know, anything went down when he left the band. And we had plans to, like, you know, even just, you know, just mess around and do some cool stuff. So when he left the band, that's when I got the call to come and play with him, you know, through Monty. And he had like 4 or 5 songs that he demoed. I flew out to Arizona. I learned them. We played, we gelled, and then we just went from there.
Is that Riz in the band at that point? Mark Rizzo?
No, this is like
before
this is like 5 years, 6 years before, or 5 or 6 years before Rizzo joined. At that time, it was just, at the time, in the first few months, it was just me and Max in a room. We didn't have a bass player yet.
Wow.
We got a bass player, like someone he knew and grew up with, that was from Brazil, that lived there. His name is Marcelo. He used to work lighting, and he was part of the crew for Sepultura. So he ended up being the bass player. And then we got this guy named Jackson Bandera, a.k.a. Lucio Maia, from the band Chico Science and the Sounds and B from Brazil. Right. He was involved. And Max had a bunch of guests come in, like he had Dino Cazares play guitar on a couple tracks. He had Burton Seabell sing on the first track. He had Christian Walbers from Fear Factory. He had Fred Durst. He had Chino from the Deftones. He had Benji from Dub War, who's now in Skindred, and all in the Sounds and B percussionists on there. Like, we would all jam together. It was great, man. It was a really fucking killer, powerful record. I mean, we all recorded this stuff live. We didn't do it, you know, to a click track. We're all in the same room. We did like 2-3 takes, and then went with the best take from top to bottom, like, and then just kind of added to that. So that's what you hear, you know. It's really organic, really raw, from the heart. A lot of emotion, a lot of expression. Really special record, man.
Awesome. And just in the spirit of keeping it moving, because I know we have big news. We somehow we talked about. I don't think we mentioned it at the beginning, right? Let's work towards that. In the spirit of working towards sort of like the big reveal here, which is very exciting. Let's talk about the band that you've been in. And I wanted to ask you, like, a lot of the bands that we're talking about here, you know, you sort of came in and did a record or did this or did that, but this band here, Stone Sour, you've really been a member of since 2006, correct?
Yeah. 2006, I came in. Actually, I came in to just play drums on the record. I wasn't even a thought of me being in the band fully yet. At the time, they needed a drummer to come in and help out and record the second record. Nick Raskulenix was their producer. He's the one that gave them the idea to give me a call, and I happened to be home. I came down. I didn't really know the guys yet. I kind of knew Corey. I sort of knew Jim, but I didn't know the other. I didn't know Sean or Josh yet. And they already had their songs recorded, so I basically recorded to a click track and stereo guitar stems. That's all I had, and some scratch vocals. I never recorded with a band like that ever in my life. That was the first time. And usually, I mean, there's only one way that I know, and that's to record live with the band. And I kind of sat there. I'm like, "You want me to do what?" They're like, "Oh, you just record to the click in the track." I'm like, "Really? All right." And it worked. It worked out. So basically, the process was me to play to that. They wiped those tracks away, and then they record over top of what I played, and then put it together that way.
It's like it's almost like a Chinese democracy thing, you know?
I guess. I mean, so I did this in within 4 days. I did like 4 days, did a bunch of day, and then a week went by, a week or two went by, and then I get a call. That was somewhere, I think, in Russia or Europe somewhere. I'm not sure where, but that's a good shot. I miss all those guys, man. I haven't seen those guys in a very long time, like almost 2 years. I haven't seen any of them. A year and a half. Yeah, it's been a while. Where was I going with this? What was I just saying before?
Just joining the band and then going on board. And I guess the reason I sort of brought it up is like you are a member of this band.
Right. I was going to get to that. So 2 weeks or so after I was done recording, I get a call from the guys to come back to the studio and hang out. And they broke the news to me. They're like, "Hey, what would you think about being full, a member in the band?" I'm like, "I would love that. I'm not playing with anyone. I've never been offered to be a member of a band. I've always been a hired gun the whole time." So it was great. I never expected it. And I just recorded on the record. So it was perfect, and the guys are great. They were my great friends, and yeah, the rest is history,
I love the kit that you're playing in this shot.
Yeah, that was the first kit that DW built for me. It was the first time I got together with DW. Yeah.
Really nice, man.
Yeah. The kid's awesome.
Let me see if I have. Oh yeah, I love this shot too, man. I mean, I was doing some homework today and listening to some Stone Sour, the last studio recording, and
that was in Moscow. That was in Moscow, the first Moscow show we played on the Hydrograd tour. That was
wow.
Yeah.
That's a great shot, man.
Really cool shot.
I was gonna kind of be a wise guy and sort of leave and like take a guess. I was gonna be like, would that be like Bremen, Germany, or like it has a Europe vibe to it. I was like, I was gonna go. My first guess was Brennan, but yeah, that's. But yeah, the last. Beautiful, man. Oh no, Oleg, is it Moscow? Oleg says it's St. Petersburg.
No, that's Moscow for sure.
Okay.
Not St. Petersburg.
The last Stone Sour studio record that I was just listening to this morning, really, 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 really production-wise sounds really great, man.
Thanks, man.
Really good, man.
We played live together on that one. We actually recorded all that live together.
Is that right?
Yeah. With no click track, which gave it even more life. And the reason why we did it that way, I'm glad we finally got to do it that way, because every record we've done was how I just said it was. And that's cool. It works great like that for some situations, but how we were writing these songs like separately, but then we would get together in this room here that I'm in right now talking to you, and we would record them. I would record them for us, and then we'd put it together and mix it and then live with it for a little while. We record like a batch of 5, and then send them off to Corey while he's on tour with Slipknot, and he would add his 2 cents, and he would come back here and record his vocals or wherever he's at, and then we'd have all these songs, and then we'd go into the studio. But what I'm getting at is the idea was like, well, look, we just recorded these songs at your place. Why don't we record in the studio the same way? I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, well, let's just record it live together like how we just did it. I'm like, because it wouldn't come out sounding the way it did if we did it the other way we were usually doing it. So it was a blessing. It was great to finally get to do it like that with these guys.
That
Yeah.
that does
Worked out
and
awesome.
yeah. Do you I mean at this point, I mean obviously playing with a click is just is pretty standard in a recording studio, correct?
Yeah, I mean for some things, I mean, yeah, because like a lot of engineers and producers like to grid your recordings and stuff like that. But it works for some bands, you know. But if you're like a loose kind of band that has a lot of ghost notes, a lot of expression, a lot of dynamic, I don't know. I don't think it's necessary. A band like Led Zeppelin would sound stupid on a click, you know.
Yeah.
But
yeah, for sure.
if you're playing even a band like Rammstein that needs to be, you know, just really on it, yeah,
Of
play on a
course.
fucking click. Ministry, play on a fucking click. Yeah, that works, you know. But for organic kind of rock, I don't recommend it, you know.
Absolutely. Hey, an old friend of yours wants to say hi. What's up, Rat Bones?
Hey, what's up,
Hey!
Roy?
Well, man,
What's
up,
going
dude?
on?
How you been?
Not much. Out in Astoria today, visiting the in-law,
That's
visiting
awesome, man.
my girl's mother. Yeah, nice seeing you, Roy, man. It's good hearing all the old tales and shit, man.
Good to see you, man. I haven't seen you in fucking forever, man.
I know, it's been a minute, man. I'm glad to see you climbed up out of the gutter and you're making good of yourself, kid. You make us all proud, you know. It proves that we can do anything in this life, you know. Don't have
That's
to
right.
stay stuck in the mold, you know.
Yeah, man.
Music.
It's good to see you, brother.
Yeah, great seeing you, bro.
I hope I get to see you next time I come through, though, which will be pretty soon.
Yeah, definitely. Hopefully, things open back up. Things are opening up. They're saying so.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we'll get back in that room
Yeah.
and get our Sundays back.
Yeah. For sure.
Is that the Boba Fett shirt, Rat Bones?
Yeah, I just got that.
That's badass.
Yeah, man. Star Wars is badass right now. There's so much Star Wars. I love it.
Wait, I got one. Hang on.
But yeah,
Astoria.
maybe I'll have to tell.
Are you on Astoria Boulevard?
I'm actually on 23rd Ave and 28th Street.
Look what I got.
Oh.
Oh, nice.
This one's signed by George Lucas.
What?
Oh, dude, that's hot.
What?
My wife got this for
That's
me.
super cool.
Hang on.
Wow.
Yeah, let me walk up. The Hell's Gate Bridge is up here. At least I can show the.
Wow, that's awesome, Roy.
That's the way. No.
Yeah, that's
right.
super cool.
That is great.
Is that a Don Post?
Wow.
Thanks.
Yeah,
Oh,
Roy.
yeah.
Roy,
That's a
Roy,
dump
Roy,
post.
Roy wins.
There you go. You can see the Hell's Gate. What's it? The Hell's Gate Bridge back there?
Yeah, that's the train.
Yeah.
That's the train trestle that leads to Hell's Gate Bridge.
Yeah,
Yep.
man.
Yep.
So we're out in the birthplace of hardcore and punk, Astoria, Queens. Rules.
I miss Astoria. I miss the food.
Oh, so
Yeah.
let me tell one funny story real quick. All right, you got me.
Go ahead, quick.
You got to hear it. So one time we were at the wetlands when you used to do the sound over there, and it was like a Murphy's Law show. Everybody was hanging out after the show, and there used to be in the basement there was a little earth on the wall. It was like a painting.
That's
and every
right.
time I went in there, I would draw that skull like on the earth, and they'd get so mad at me, and they knew it was me, and I was like, no, I didn't do it. And one night we were all in there after Murphy's Law got done, and there was just a few of us in there, and right by the outside door, I had those big fat Sharpies just came out, those big fat Magnums, and I had a red one, and I was doing a skull right by the exit door. And all of a sudden I was drawing and I just saw this big hand come and grab my hand. It was like a big bouncer, big fucking paw grabbed my hand and squished the marker all over in the inside of my hand. And he's like, I was like, man, come on. He's like, I got you red-handed this time, Rat Bones. And my hand was literally, and he like took me by my hand, red in the air, and brought me over to Jimmy, and Jimmy was yelling at me, oh, why you gotta do stupid shit? And I remember you came over and you told the guy, oh, let him slide. It's all right. He can hang out. So you spoke up for me when I was like being bad, you know?
Yeah, fuck it. I used to tag. Fuck it.
Oh boy.
But it was just hilarious because I literally got caught red-handed, you know?
All right,
pretty
Rat.
funny.
Good talking to you, man.
Yo, great
Happy
show,
Mother's Day.
everybody out there. Peace up. We'll see you in a couple weeks on a Wednesday.
All right.
Happy Mother's Day to all the ladies out
Hilarious. I totally forgot about all of that.
Yeah, man. You know, I was thinking about, because, you know, we had Tommy Victor on the show who did sound at CBGB's.
Yeah.
And, you know, I have to assume that, you know, doing sound in those places, when you were doing it at Wetlands and Pyramid, where else do I remember you working? Wetlands?
I worked every fucking place in New York, but the places that I bounced back and forth to mostly was Wetlands and Coney Island, and then I would work CB's occasionally, covering for other people that worked there, like Rob Roy worked there. Roy worked there. Tommy wasn't worked there anymore by the time I started working there. I would just cover for different people, and there's a couple times where I was a few weeks there, like really short periods. But then I would get hired out by other bands to work, like the Pyramid, or Brownies, or Limelight, or fucking Irving Plaza. Like I mixed every fucking room in New York City at that time.
I mean, that must have been a great learning experience, man.
It was.
Yeah, incredible.
I was exposed to so much cool music, like, you know, a lot of different kinds of music, you know, whether it be techno or be like a hippie jam band at Wetlands or whatever. You know, I saw a lot of cool stuff, you know, and got to mix a lot of cool things, met a lot of cool people. I learned a lot of techniques from different engineers that would come in with other bands that I would take care of, you know, as they're mixing their bands. I'd watch and learn, you know.
Yo, shouting out Chippy Love. What's up, Chip?
All right, Chip.
Yeah.
Chip Love, man. I haven't seen him in the ages either. I hope you're good, my brother.
Yeah. Let's finally, we've made our way. Let's talk about this band and what's going on with these guys right about now. Boom. This would be
Ministry.
Yeah, man.
And the big reveal, I am back playing drums for them right now as we speak.
That's exciting.
It is really exciting because I wasn't sure what I was going to be doing after all this lockdown pandemic stuff. And I wasn't sure, you know, with the band, where I'm going to go. I'm guessing Stone Sour is on a hiatus right now. So it worked out great. You know, I got a call from Al a few weeks ago, and yeah. Here we are.
You're back in the ministry. Back on the minute. Yeah.
Yeah. We have a tour lined up in October. It was perfect timing, you know. And I was just telling you before, I'm just starting to get re-familiar with the music. I just got a bunch of the live stems. I've been toying around with that for the last few weeks. And, you know, making some. Oh yeah, there's the infamous Chicago open air show we were talking about earlier.
Is that right?
That was my first show with.
Is that right? Ministry and Helmet's going out with you guys?
Yep, Ministry, Helmet, and Frontline Assembly.
Wow. All right.
Yeah.
That is great. Where is this?
This is Chicago open air.
Wow, I'd say.
2016. That's the show I was telling you about that my in-ear monitors went out.
Oh, tell us that story. That's a great story.
Wow. I have a click. I have to play to a click track, obviously, right? So I had no sound. I had no click. I had no drums. I had no guitar, nothing. It's in the middle of like the first song, second song, something like that. So I'm looking over at the keyboard player, JB. I'm like, this is my position. I'm all like, he's kind of like, oh, okay. So he turns around over to me. He starts going, started clapping the click that he's hearing, and I'm playing to his clap, and he's like lip syncing all the words of like just lip syncing the vocals, so I know where the fuck I was in the song, and he got me back on track, and all of a sudden my mix came back on. I was like, oh my god, it was a fucking craziest thing to happen at that show, my first show. I'm like, this is not happening right now. But yeah,
in front of
us. He saved my ass.
That's a big crowd.
Yeah.
That's a big crowd, man.
I can't tell you how many people were there. I don't know how many people were there. It was a lot. But yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, my boy Wedge tour manages and does sound for Ministry, so that's cool.
Yeah, we worked together when I was in Soulfly. and we've known each other from before. Like before I was even in Soulfly, he was like Cole Chambers' tour manager, sound engineer, and I was doing sound for a band called A Day in the Life, opening up for those guys. And that's how Wedge and I met.
I go back with Wedge, man, back to when, we were out on the road with Biohazard. He was, he was tour managing, he was tour managing and, doing sound, and I was the road manager.
He was doing sound for Biohazard.
It was just, well, I think the tour was Sepultura, Biohazard, Spineshank.
Wow.
And he was sort of doing sound and sort of doing the business end of Biohazard and Spineshank. And I was doing sort of the road managing for Biohazard, sort of more of the like lining them up with the interviews, and I was handling that. But we all were on the bus together. It was Biohazard and Spineshank and me and Wedge, and it was a good time, man.
That's great. It's awesome.
Yeah, but that's exciting. Congratulations. I mean, that's a great gig, and now coming out of this whole thing, like I'm sure for at least the last year, you're sort of sitting around, what's going to happen, what's next for me, and then this gets dropped in your lap. Fantastic, right?
Yeah, and it worked out. Like I just actually recorded drums for the last song that they put out last year, Alert Level, and I recorded on some songs on the Americans record as well. So it worked out great. So I'm able to play some of these songs that I, helped put together with the guys. So it's good. Worked out good.
Here's a question. Let's do this, and then we'll take a break, and then we'll come back and take questions from around the world. But Melvin's Freak 79 asks, how was it playing on Sonic Mass? It's rare that a band reunites and makes an amazing record. Usually it tends to be a bit of a damp squib.
Well, thanks. I mean, yeah, thanks. I mean, it was definitely that whole thing with Amoebics, that came out of nowhere, and that wasn't supposed to happen. I mean, Amoebics, how I got in touch with those guys, I mean, we got together through a girl named Alicia. She was a singer of a band called 13. I don't know if anyone out there remembers 13. They're all girls, told doom metal, sludge, fucking heavy as fuck. Great band. And Alicia used to go out with the singer of Nausea, with Al. That's how we know each other. So we've known each other for over 30 years. One day she called me saying like, Rob was looking for someone to play drums in Amoebics for an Amoebics documentary video. At the time, their drummer, Spider, wasn't really into doing it because he had really bad tinnitus, and he wasn't up for it. And she's basically telling Rob, like, hey, I got the guy. Just John, hey, I got the guy. And Rob put me and Rob back together, and Rob and I started talking, and he's like, yeah, would you be into coming over to, play some drums with me and my brother? I'm just going to do a couple songs for a video, because we want to do what an Amoebics would sound like today, following up to, the whole story of the journey of that band, how they, rise and fall. Sure. So we got together in a room in, it was like in the Breen in Antrim, Ireland. It was like Northern Ireland. The person that was putting together this DVD is named Roy Wallace. He was the director and producer of this whole video. So we got together, and I learned like 2 songs. Well, I already knew this. So I played them a bit on my own before jamming with them. We did like Winter and what's the other one? Arise, the song Arise. We played those 2 songs back to back to see what it felt like, and we recorded it together. I brought like my Pro Tools rig over there to engineer it, so they had decent audio sound for the video playback. And those guys were like, man, this is really cool. We should keep doing this. What do you think we move forward with this and put the band back together and record some new stuff? And I was like, fuck, absolutely. I was a huge fan of this band and admired those records. I mean, I love No Sanctuary and Monolith. I mean, Arise, those are fucking classic, punk records. And I was obviously all about it. We started writing more music. I went back home and put some of that back together, mixed it. And then I came back to Scotland to hang with Rob. And then we went back to Ireland to the same place where we recorded the DVD, recorded the first 5 songs of the record there. and then lived with that for a bit. And then I went on tour with Stone Sour. And then when I was done with Stone Sour, at the end of like one European tour, like in 2010 or something like that, after we've toured in 2009, we decided to finish off recording the rest of the record, and then we put it out the following year. But in between 2008 and 2010, we did tour in the US in 2009 with just an EP called Redux, which is the 3 songs. We did Winter, Arise, I think Progress. I can't remember, man. But we put this EP out on Profane Existence, and we toured on that. Did 7 shows, 8 shows. It was great, man.
That's awesome.
And I mean, yeah.
Go on. Everybody's going on about the wall of Moog.
Andy, who just posted, Andy Lefton, he did all the artwork for the Sonic Mass album.
Yeah, here he is.
Also,
yeah, Andy
also
Lefton.
was the guitar player in Tau Cross. Yeah, there he is. Hey, Andy.
Got it. Cool. Let me do my final sponsor break, and we'll come back and we'll take questions from around the world, okay?
Awesome.
Right on. What's happening, everybody, around the world? This is the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live, and we are sponsored by New York Hardcore Comics, The Organic Grill, the Texas Silver Rush, Chain Reaction Records and Skateboards, DTFM Vinyl Distro, Chacho's Tacos, Generation Records. New York Hardcore Comics opened back in 2013 when lifelong friends Debo the Pro and Lee Fairley combined their collections and obsessions for comic books, punk rock, toys, statues, magic, The Gathering, and all things horror. The store is located at 117 Main Street in lovely Dobbs Ferry, New York. If you want to support them during this pandemic, please contact them via email at newyorkhardcorecomics@gmail.com. Also, lest we forget, DTFM Vinyl Distro is a record store that specializes in underground music, punk, ska, hardcore metal, and more. Located in the heart of Fargo, North Dakota's industrial district, shop in person or online at www.dtfmvinyldistro.com, where the motto is death to false metal. I want to mention a couple of upcoming shows. Wednesday, June 2nd. Mr. Tristan DeGraves is coming on the show. I know him well. He was in Antidote with me, now Antidote NYHC. He also plays in the Undead. A very interesting, well-versed music guy with a rich music history. Also a real avid skateboarder. So that should be really cool. We got Tristan coming on the show, and I could bust his chops on the show. Also, Sunday, June 6th, Johnny Z from Megaforce coming on the show. Actually, I'm doing my homework, reading his book right now. Reading Johnny Z's book, Heavy Tales. Do my homework here, you know. So Johnny Z's on the show. Incredible story, of course. Megaforce Records, Rock and Roll Heaven, the flea market, the store, you know, early Metallica, of course, Anthrax, Manowar, you know, SOD, you know, blah, 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 the blah, blah peninsula. So, yeah, man, for sure. The Zazula show is going to be great. I talked to him the other day. You know, he's excited about it. So that's happening as well. I'm going to Florida tomorrow for a week. I'm going to be down with the one, the only Arnie Stone. I got to get him on the show while I'm down there. I will see a bunch of our old friends. But you know what's going on while I'm down in Florida, within striking distance? What? Yep. Madball's playing on a Saturday and a Sunday. This one's in Melbourne, which is 2 hours from my dad's. There's another show. If you're watching, Hoya, might have to come and see you, you know? Yeah, I know. I was thinking about, I got to get my dad on. It's been a while. We got to catch up. We got to catch up with Arnie Stone and see what's going on. So yeah, I might have to go see Madball. You know, why not? Did I cover everything? Scott Dottino, Godfather's Bar in Saipan, shouting you out. It is Shout Out Sunday. Thank you for the support, man. What else? Oh, yeah. You know what? I haven't done this in a while. If you're watching the show in rerun, please subscribe on YouTube. There is a Stone Films NYC. Subscribe to it so you get alerts when the next show is going to be. Also, on Instagram, if you have a communication device, please follow me on Instagram at Stone Films NYC. As a matter of fact, I know you're sitting there playing pocket pool or you know, watching me on a big screen or eating dinner with your kids and that. Pick this up and follow me on Instagram at Stone Films NYC. That's where the action's at. If you want to go where the action's at. The jets are in gear. Our cylinders are cricking. The sharks will stand clear. So, yeah, shout out to all the moms out there. It is Mother's Day. New York Hardcore Chronicles Live. You want some Yo, we'll bring my dad on. We'll do some Mel Brooks stories. For sure. For sure. Shouting out Upstate Rick up at Burke Rehabilitation Center in White Plains. I love you, man. It was great seeing you the other day. Patreon shows every other Wednesday. Don't forget. Don't be a lurker. You know, come join the family and support the show. There's room for you on the boat. That said, shouting out the women of the pit. Happy Mother's Day, everybody. Women in the pit. New York Hardcore Live's comic cruise. Oh, there's a merch. There's a merch link below. Support. There's an A7 Back to the New York Hardcore Roots comp shirt. There's some New York Hardcore Chronicles Live merch, and there is the Do Good Things and Good Things Come to You. You know, there's all the stuff with the New York Hardcore logos and all that. So don't be scared to support the show. The show's not scared of you. Drew, you should get some of the Metallica guys on the Zazula show. Yeah, sure, no problem. Yeah, it would go something like this. Oh, yeah, Hetfield, what's happening? Yeah, it's Drew Stone. Hey, I know you're sitting around and you ain't got nothing much to do, and you want to come on my show and talk to Zazula? Oh, yeah, great, thanks. Okay, cool. Done. James Hetfield's going to be on the Zazula show. See how easy it is? Yeah, man. What else? All right, that's good. Let's take some questions from around the world. I've been around the... Yo, seriously. Yo, who saw that performance with the Foo Fighters and Back in Black with Brian Johnson? Anybody see that? Wow. Oof. Damn. I mean, I know, dude. So didn't dude retire because he was having problems with his voice man. Woo, that was rough. I'm not trying to shit on anybody, but ouch. Oof. I'm not gonna go off, but man, that was rough. Yeah, it was rough. Back in whack. All right. Anyway, let's post questions for Roy. Come on, let's go. Start posting now, you bums. Oh, it was his hearing. Well, listen, if he can't hear shit, chances are, he's having a hard time hitting the notes, Anyway, let's bring Roy back on. Hey, man.
What's up?
I won't ask you about that. I know you're a career musician, so I'm not going to ask you about any of that.
About what?
Did you see that Back in Black Foo Fighters with Brian Johnson performance?
I don't want to talk about it, but I did not.
All right. I'll spare you. All right, here we go from Pepe. How does Roy like playing to the Stone Sour crowd, which is more of a classic rock metal crowd compared to the hardcore crowds?
I mean, both crowds are great. I mean, I'm not going to rate one's better than the other. They're both different, Obviously, hardcore crowds, it's more in your face and you're right there. There's no barrier, that blocks you between you and the crowd. The stage crowd, done. Big rock shows, there's a barrier, and it's different, but they're both great,
Yeah, and it seems
honestly, I don't really see the crowd when I'm playing anyway, because I don't see anything past the fucking fucking band's fucking asses, you know. That's it. That's all I see. And I have lights hit me in the face, so I don't see nothing in front of me. And anyways, when I'm playing, I'm usually in my own fucking world. I'm totally turned off, and I'm in fucking play mode, and just that's it, you know. Occasionally I'll look up and be like, holy shit, and then continue back to what I'm doing. But I gotta say, playing with, say, like Amoebics while playing with Stone Sour at that same time, I loved playing with Amoebics because it reminded me of the time when I was playing in Nausea. I was playing in smaller clubs. I was playing in a no barrier situation between the crowd and the band, and I loved that. And I forgot how much I loved that energy. I felt that energy, you know. It was great, you know. So in a way, I guess I prefer it, you know, because that's where I started.
Hey Roy, can you talk about who else is in ministry these days with you?
At the moment, it's I can't really discuss too much more.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Sorry, I wasn't trying to lead you down that road if it was not appropriate.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Al's in the band.
Well, yeah. He's in the band. Caesar's still in the band. Yeah.
Yeah.
JB's
let's see. Okay, Mike DeJean, Queens represent. What's up, Mike?
Monty Pitt in the band too.
Roy, talk a little bit about your time running sound at Wetlands back in the day. I distinctly remember you hopping on my Gretsch kit and crushing it during a sound check at a Crown of Thorns gig.
Oh yeah. Wetlands, man. Like that's basically where I kind of first started doing sound more. Like at the time, it was just it was more like just jam bands, you know, more like Mo and Blues Traveler and you know, Doctors. That was kind of more what was going in. Grateful Dead cover bands, stuff like that. Pink Floyd tribute bands, which was great. The band called The Machine, which I loved. They were fucking amazing.
Oh yeah,
Floyd tribute band.
Yeah, they were great.
Still around. They're still fucking awesome. But I can remember though how the whole hardcore thing started happening at Wetlands. I remember when the matinees stopped at CB's and went like a whole year without it. And I think Ray and Jimmy are the ones that brought it to the club. And once that started happening, that's when I started to work more sound nights at Wetlands because of that. It was every Sunday. So I started getting Sundays and Tuesdays and Wednesdays. I'm like, this is great. But yeah, at that time when all the hardcore shows were going on at Wetlands, man, that was great. I saw so many good stuff. I witnessed, like Crown of Thorns. I witnessed H2O's first show when they first started. You know, Rancid, fucking Cro-Mags getting back together for the first time. Who else?
I saw Rage Against the Machine play Wetlands.
I saw that too. I didn't work that, but I was there for that. And I remember
they crushed it, man. They fucking crushed it. That was great.
Let me tell you this. I never heard of them.
Me neither.
I'm like, how is there 800 people packed in this place? And back then it was all word of mouth street team. But I also heard that I got wind that Zach was in Inside Out too. I'm like, oh, this makes sense. So you had that crowd in there with this whole crowd. It was fucking mental, dude. Never seen anything. That was probably the most jam-packed show I think I ever witnessed in there, other than like when War played there for a week, fucking 311 played there. It was always packed out. It was massive.
There was another band on the bill that day. I think it was Shining Time Station, which Todd Youth was playing in. And he asked me to videotape them. And I had a video camera and I videotaped them and I on VHS. It was a VHS recorder. And I recorded the whole Rage Against the Machine set. And I had it for years. I had the master VHS. Somehow I can't find it anymore, but I had that. I shot that show. It was epic.
Yeah, I always try to look for footage of that on YouTube. I can never find it. It was such a great show. I remember being in the bar area. I was standing on top of the bar to watch them. I couldn't see. I'm a fucking little guy, so everyone's like mega tall. I couldn't see nothing. I just saw like Zach's head jump around every now and then. So I'm like, fuck this. I got up on the bar to watch. It was fucking epic, man.
Hey, let's talk a little gear for a second. Here's a question from our resident historian, Chucky Brown. Can he speak on when he met Neil Peart, Rush? I believe he uses a line of his Sabian cymbals called paragons. Is that correct?
I do. I use
Let's talk
Paragon.
about that.
I met Neil actually. Nick Raskulenix, our producer at the time, he was working with Stone Sour on Audio Secrecy. He's also working with Rush. Can't remember which record it was, but he was working with Rush at the same time in the same studio, but in 2 different rooms. So I remember it was like 1 week he was just working with Rush and us going back and forth. And I remember he was like, "Hey, you guys mind if I, piggyback and do, Rush, at the same time while I'm doing you guys?" Were like, "No, go right ahead." So that week, it was like in April, it was like my birthday week, and it was perfect timing. Apparently Neil was hanging out with Rick, Nick Raskulenix, our producer, and he saw that I had all the Paragon symbols on my kit. He's like, "Who is this kid? How does this kid have a 22-inch Paragon? I want to meet this kid. What's up with this?" So Nick tells me about, like, he saw the kid, he saw the symbol, and he's like, he thought it was pretty cool. You're using all of his line. I go, his line sounds great. It has like a really cool old school kind of symbol sound. It's kind of warm. It's not too bright and brittle. It's got a nice wash to it. So that's why I use them. I use them to this day still. On my hi-hats, my crashes are just all Paragon. Everything else is different. I have like AAX and HHX, all that shit. Anyway, back to the story. So he says, "Hey, Neil wants to meet you and hang out." I'm like, "Sure, let's when?" He's like, "Tomorrow." So I show up to the studio. I'm all like, "Holy shit, it's fucking Neil Peart." I go, he takes me to his room, which is like two doors and outside of the other side of the studio in a different building. It was at Blackbird Studios in Nashville. That's where this happened. His whole Snakes and Arrows red DW drum kit is set up there. I walk in, I see that. I'm like, and there he is next to it, like, "What's up?" It's a little glass of fucking nice scotch and just bullshitting. And he's like 6'3". He's a big dude. I didn't realize how big this guy was. I'm like, wow, he's super cool. Total gentleman. Hung out with him for like a good hour, just bullshitting him about life in general and blah blah blah, and nerding out about gear and stuff like that. And he's asking me about the symbol, like, "So why a 22-inch crash?" I go, "Well, because he's like, what's wrong with my 20-inch?" I'm like, "Oh, your 20-inch is fine. I need 22." He's like, "Why do you need 22?" "Because it's got a broader wash to it." I go, "I don't want to lay into it too hard, because when I start to do that, it starts flopping too much. So if I got a 22, the weight kind of subsides a bit, and I could really lay into it, and it washes out, in a more deeper pitch and tone." He's like, "Interesting. I'm going to try that." And we're talking about tuning, like drum tuning. I'm like, "How do you tune your drums?" And I go, "I tune my drums like, kind of medium weight on the bottom and really loose on top." And he's like, I asked him about you. He's like, "Well, yeah, I tune mine kind of high." And I started tapping on him like up and down. And stuff. He was like, "He gave me his sticks." He's like, "Go try him out." I'm like, "For real?" He's like, "Yeah, go try him out." I'm like, "Get the fuck out." I sat down. I'm all, remember every Neil Peart drum pull I could imagine. It felt like doing that it felt like an hour, but it was like 10 seconds. And I turn around, look over at him. He's like leaning up against his symbol, like hardware. He's like, "That was pretty cool, huh?" I'm like, "Yeah, it was really fucking cool, man." Thank you.
Wow, what a nice moment. That's fantastic.
And then he sits on his drum kit and it's just like, ga, 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 ga. I'm like, God damn. Like, I hit it. It sounds like shit. He gets on it. It sounds fucking amazing. Of course, it's Neil Peart. The other thing that was crazy, sitting on his drum kit, everything is up here because he's so much taller than I am. His snare drum is like up to my fucking chest. So I'm just like this, playing his fucking drums. But they sound
like Robo from Black Flag.
Fucking Robo rules, dude. I love his drumming. He sounds so fucking great.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was my experience with Neil Peart. He was a complete gentleman, really cool. I always not ever into meeting my idols or people I admire because I'm always scared to get let down. Was not let down in the fucking least with that guy. He was an absolute gentleman. He's one of my favorite drummers, and I'm really glad I got to meet him. He was really cool.
Fantastic.
Sweetheart.
Here's a question from Ben Lejeau. Am I pronouncing that right, Ben? "Hi, Roy. How was your experience with Channel Zero? Rest in peace, Phil."
Yeah, Phil, man. I unfortunately, I never really got to know Phil. He was a great drummer, and that band is really cool. I know those guys are awesome. How I got to record with them was through Mikey Doling, their guitar player they've had for a few years, who was also in Soulfly with me. That's how I got involved with that. So when they needed someone to record with, they called me, and I recorded it here, and I sent the tracks over, and they did what they made with it. Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, and this band I know, Channel Zero, many years ago on their first record, me and my brother, the Stone Brothers directed a video off their first I guess major record. We directed the video for "Sucking Me Dry for My Energy."
That's a great man.
Yeah. There's my brother at the camera, me behind him, and this was in that that L.A. aqueduct, where they shot Grease and all that.
Really?
This is in that tunnel. You could drive into it to get there. This is in that sort of drainage, in that drainage tunnel. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I have another one from that shoot. Here it is, right here. Yeah. Here's another one from that shoot.
Grease. What's that?
This is it. Yeah, here we are at that location. This is me and my brother, and
that's cool.
I'm holding the old school Motorola flip phone, and my brother right now is out on the road with Josh Gates. He's the cinematographer, Expedition Unknown on the Discovery Channel, and I can't talk about what he's doing, but he's doing really cool shit.
That's great. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, same kind of thing. You can't talk about it publicly. So that said, let's see what we got. How was it? The Human Falafel asks, how was working with Karen Crisis?
Oh man, I miss those guys, Karen and Afzal, and Joanza and everyone. That was great, man. I've known those guys from like when I was in Thorn. We used to play a lot of shows together. That's how we got to know each other. And right around the time between Shelter and Soulfly, like in between those two bands, that's when I got to record with those guys. I was on the Hollowing record, which came out on Metal Blade. And there's actually a couple other drummers other than me on that. There's 3 different drummers. There's me, Jason Bittner, we all know from Shadows Fall, and now Overkill.
And Stigmata. He was in Stigmata originally.
Yeah, Stigmata. He wasn't in Shadows Fall yet. He just added Stigmata into that. And Chris Hamilton was on drums too. And he also had Norman Westberg from the Swans played guitar on this record as well, which is fucking great. But yeah, Karen is awesome, man. I miss all those guys. I miss Karen and Afzal. I mean, that was a really good time. And they had a really great sound, a really cool, interesting sound, man. She had a great voice.
I got to get her on the show, man.
Oh, you should. She's awesome.
Yeah. Hey, we have yet to talk about? We have not talked about. Let's start out with this here. What's happening here?
Oh wow, yeah, that's Dime Bash from 2016. That was like the finale song. It was we were doing Walk with Rex Brown on bass and Bill Anselmo on vocals. In this picture, at the same time, you had fucking 4 guitar players. You had Phil Demo from Machine Head. You had Dave Grohl. You have Gary Holt from Slayer and Rob Flynn from Machine Head.
That's heavy right there.
What's going on here right now is me. I'm cueing them when to stop. It's the very end of I'm like doing the whole last bit of Walk On Home, whatever. And that's when we're about to end it. Like bop, boom, boom, bop. So they're looking at me when to end. I'm like, yeah, there you are. It was an epic moment, man. That's
awesome. And that sort of plays into this a little bit. Here's a shot of you and Vinny. This sort of you tell us about sort of the trajectory. The Dime Bash. You're obviously friends with Vin, and how you ended up doing the Hell Yeah thing.
Well, this picture was from 2017, Stone Sour at Chicago Open Air, and Vinny was with Hell Yeah. Obviously, we both played this festival. That's us hanging out at the end of the show. Obviously, we're both pretty lit there, as you could tell. That was on his bus. It was like full-on party on his bus. I fucking miss that dude. We first met each other when I was with Soulfly at Milton Keynes Bowl and Ozfest in 1998. It was Pantera and Foo Fighters. That's where I first met Dave as well. Dave Grohl, him, and Taylor Hawkins. I met all 3 of them at the same time. They were all standing behind me as I'm playing the show. I remember taking a sip of water and I turned around. And I was like, ah! It's like, fuck. They all had their fucking arms crossed, and I can remember Vinny shouting at me like, "Come on, motherfucker! Yeah, man, get it!
Get it, motherfucker!"
Yeah, like, fucking A. It's Vinny, Paul, and Dave, and Taylor is great. I've been friends with him ever since. After that, we hung out all night after that and partied and whatever. And yeah, been tight ever since.
And
what the hell yeah thing though?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Vinny passed away, as a few years ago. It was pretty shocking how it came about like that. Just all of a sudden. About a year and a half ago, they were going to release the last record that he recorded, and they weren't intending to do a full tour, but they ended up they were just going to do a memorial show to kind of honor him and honor the band, honor the record. They called me a few months before the show, like it was May of 2019, and I learned a bunch of their songs, a bunch of the songs off the record, and prepared for that, and played a real heavy emotional show, helped them do that in Vegas. It was great. And then later after that, they decided they wanted to tour, and do a memorial tour for Vinny and to promote the record that there and a couple tours. It was great. It was good for them. They needed to do that. And it was a pretty heavy moment for them.
Now, Hell Yeah is not
for me
functioning
too.
anymore.
For me,
Hell Yeah is
I've known the guy. It's weird
Hell
to
Yeah
be
is not
like in
a functioning band, is it? These days?
Not right now.
Yeah.
Not right now, because Chad is on his way to go do Mudvayne. So those guys are, in a hiatus for right now.
Hey, a couple of the well, hold on. Let me shout out Straight Jacket Paranormal, HTD for life, with the super chat says, "I love you, Karen Crisis." All right, man. Well, I'll do my best to get her on the show. I got to reach out to her. That would be an interesting show.
Brad, man. That'd be a great interview with her.
Yeah. Oleg says, "Hey Roy, what do you think about modern D-beat scene?"
I'm actually not that familiar with a lot of the newer stuff.
Yeah.
Detestation is probably the last one that I can remember. That I liked. I don't listen to a lot of a lot of times I'll listen to old D-beat. I'll throw on Discharge, you know what I mean? Or I'll listen to, stuff like that. But I really don't listen to a lot of the stuff. I kind of tend to just work on what I'm doing with all this crazy stuff that you see behind me. But I love Discharge. I love D-beat. I love all that stuff still. I still listen to it. And you know what? After seeing that question from Oleg, after this interview, I'm going to start doing some research on some new D-beat bands. I'm sure there's some great stuff out there.
Let me put up a couple of you sent me a lot of great photos and we didn't get to them all. So let me throw a couple up. So I hate when the show ends and I go back and I go this one says Slaughter Jesus Crust 1989. What's going on here?
Okay, that's me and John. It's funny.
I thought it was John. I thought that was John.
I just joined Nausea, right? I haven't even played a show at Nausea first. I played a show with these guys first. And this is at Lucky 13 Squat on 13th between A and B. And this is a show with like Winter and Public Nuisance and Radix and all like bands at that time. This is with Ralphie Boy, you guys might know from Disassociate. He's the singer of this band. And Neil, who was in Nausea, was in this band. We were called Slaughter first. And I think Mike Smegmo is on guitar as well. We were called Slaughter, but then we changed the name because of the hair metal band. So they changed it. But this is the first show that they ever played. And I was playing bass in this, obviously.
Good one. Let's see what else we got. This one's good. This one is labeled Philly 1989. What is
in the sewer?
what's going on? What's going on here?
This, I don't have any pictures of me in my Philly days. This is the only one that I kind of had that I thought was a cool representation of what I was like down there at the time. This is right before moving to New York to join Nausea. This was at a block party on 13th Street in Rodman. The guy in front of me, you guys might know him. His name is Mark Pingator. He was the bass player for Pagan Babies, which was a local Philly hardcore band.
Of course, yeah.
He's one of my good friends. I used to live at his house. Like I lived at his house for a little while before moving to New York as well. So yeah, this is a cool party. I think Scab Cadillac played. I think Homo Picnic.
Scab Cadillac, I love it.
Cadillac. And a band called Homo Picnic, I think, played this as well from Philly. It was a cool time, man. But yeah, it was a good time.
Here's an interesting. Well, I got to throw this in. Jeff says, do you remember playing Ottawa, Canada with Nausea, Jesus Crust, Winter, Citizens Arrest, Bored Again, Oli Poloi, the Radix,
Oi Poloi,
Oi Poloi, the Radix, etc. for Rock Against Racism Fest in 1990. Something tells me you remember this.
Absolutely, I remember that show. That was my first time ever into Canada. I love that show. That was by far probably one of my favorite shows. I got to play with Nausea. I used to play drums for Winter that day too, because they just lost their drummer. It's before they had Frank Casey, the drummer that they had on the Into Darkness record. I was their drummer for that show, and I think one other, and that was about it.
That's a crazy lineup, man.
Yeah. That was a great show. I remember that show. That was awesome.
That's great. What's going on here?
That was after a DNC show at the Agora Ballroom in Ohio. That was like the first ministry tour I was on. That's Al. Obviously next to me, that's Jello Biafra. He was hosting this show, and he actually came and did a couple of songs with us. He did a Devo cover with us, and he did one Palehead song in the ministry set. That was cool. A great time. That was like one of the few times I got to hang out with Jello. He's a really good dude. He's really cool. We had some great conversations that night.
Yeah, he's a very interesting character.
Yeah, he's great
for sure. Is that right? Did Shelter play with the Sex Pistols?
Oh yeah, we played a bunch of shows with them on their first reunion tour. We did that festival. I can't remember the name of the festival we did with Helter Skelter Festival in Germany. It was the weirdest bill. It was H Blocks, Cypress Hill, Sugar Ray, Shelter, I think Doggy Dog, and Sex Pistols. Yeah, and then we did another show at Roskilde. I think Bjork was on that, or fucking, I don't know, Kraftwerk and a bunch of other bands, which was great. I never got to see Kraftwerk. That was the first time I got to see Kraftwerk. So this whole geekdom of electronics in my mind was, very satisfied. But then we played our own show opening up for the Sex Pistols in Berlin in some like airplane hangar. I can't remember the name of the place, but somewhere in Berlin. But that's where I got to first meet all of them. They were fucking awesome. They were great.
That's awesome.
Didn't really get to talk to Lydon too much, but I talked to Paul more, of course, because he was the drummer. And I met Steve and Glenn Matlock. They were awesome. Yeah.
Devo comes up a lot on the show. We got some, it's an undercurrent here. Do you remember what Devo song you did?
What's that?
Do you remember what Devo song you did with Jello?
Gates of Steel.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's kind of going deep.
It's fast too. It was like really fast, over the top version of Gates of Steel. It was killer.
All right. That's kind of, other than, wait, this one's good. This is your, would this be your high school? Is this your high school picture, high school photo?
Yeah, that was my 87-year high school yearbook. I never came back to school after Christmas vacation after that photo.
Is that right?
I went, started doing little road trips, started touring with Where It May Flesh and Youthquake and yada, yada, and never looked back.
Wow.
Basically, that was like my 10th grade year. Or 11th.
And the rest is history, huh?
10th or 11th grade year, one of that. Yeah, and the rest is history. Yeah.
Wow.
They let that fucking guy in the school looking like that. Look at that.
With the triple mohawk. Man.
Still got
big. Go big or go home, right?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, here it is. This one says 1987, World Made Flesh.
Word Made Flesh.
I'm sorry. Here you go.
Yeah, that was
Which is-
that was during that party at that show we were playing. That was like right after that or before that. Yeah.
That was, and last one would be. I looked at this. And, wait, let me show this to you. Okay, and then any idea?
What? I only see it as
What this is?
Oh, yeah,
What this is? Where this is?
this was me in the studio with Soulfly. This is 1997 in Indigo Ranch.
Do you go by your hairstyle and hair color? Is that how you sort of like
No,
connect, like?
no, because I know, I can look at the background. I know the drum I'm playing. I know where, because I just know when this was taken. The shirt I'm wearing, I'm wearing a Destroy shirt that John gave me a long time ago. I remember he gave that to me before I ventured off into Soulfly world. And yeah, I could tell like around 97, I had my hair was looking like that a little bit. But yeah, that drum kit there, that used to belong to Will Shepler. That's
Wow.
Agnostic Front drum kit. And that's also the same drum kit that I used to record a bunch of Nausea stuff. And I toured with Nausea with that drum kit. So that I still have it to this day. I finally got it all back in a few pieces. And I'm going to eventually, one of these days, put that drum kit together, set it up in this room, mic it up, and probably do a Soulfly drum through video for one song on that kit. It still sounds like the kit. It's pretty cool.
I would think that if you're a drummer, it's hard to sort of, I mean, you almost like you have to have a storage space to hold on to all your old shit. It's not like a singer or whatever. It's like if you're nostalgic and you want to hold on to your old kits, the longer you play, the more you sort of gather, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've given away a lot of stuff too over the years, just to people that didn't have anything and stuff like that. I mean, I have it narrowed down to 3 kits. I have the one that's here in my room. I have a touring kit that's with Hell Yeah right now that I use when I'm on the road, and I have my first Soulfly Crisis Nausea drum kit. I use the same kit on the Crisis record too.
What kind of kit? What kind of kit is that? What kind of kit is sitting in the room with you? Can we see it?
I'll show you. It's the DW kit. It's a cherry wood, 2 24-inch kicks. That's a 16-inch floor tom mounted. It's an 18-inch floor over there. This is this is my current setup for Ministry. Let's see, 14 by 8 TrueCast DW snare drum, 2 kicks. Yeah, everything you need. So basically, it's a 4-piece kit. That's the core of it. That's never changed since I started, and just has an extra kick drum and some extra bells and whistles. And there's my recording studio. There's the rest of it. There's my little world.
Awesome.
So everything is in line. Everything is in a patch bay straight into. So whenever I want to start, I just hit a template. All the channels are live, so I can jump around from here or start back here, roll around, and then the next room, which I won't bother bringing you to, is the control room, and that's where I do all my my editing and mixing and stuff like that.
That's awesome. And as we head down the home stretch, you want to shout out? I'm sure your endorsements or your sponsors.
Yeah, DW Drums, Sabian Cymbals, Vader's Drumsticks, Evans Drumheads. I mean, they've been supporting me, and I'm really grateful for all their support for the last 15, 16 years. I couldn't do this without them. They're the best companies. They make the greatest stuff.
Fantastic. Yeah, listen, great show, man. Thank you so much for being a part of it.
Dude, really, thank you, man. My pleasure. It was great. I had the best time, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Anybody anybody else you want to shout out? It's Mother's Day. Shout out Sunday. Anybody you want to reach out to? I
just want to say Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. You are the best.
Fantastic.
I finally have my mother here now. She's living here in LA. I moved her here a few days ago, so it's a big thing for me, and long time coming. Been trying to get her to come out here for years, and she finally did it. So I'm happy about that.
Fantastic. And I'm looking forward to seeing you, out there, out on the road with Al and the rest of that circus, man. That's really great, man. I'm very happy for you, man. It's a great gig, and we all are. We love your work, and we'll see you out there on the road, man.
I can't wait to see all of you out there. I can't wait to see people play with people live. It's gonna be great, and I'll definitely be hitting up everybody in the New York area that I know to come out. I'd love to see you guys. I miss everyone back home.
Once again, Roy, you're a hometown hero, man, and we love you a lot, and we wish you all the best.
Love you too, man.
I'll talk to you soon.
All right, homie. Be good.
You too.
Later, guys.
Well, there you go. Our guest today was Roy Mayorga, and man, great show, man. What a great show. What a great guy. Boy, I'm a lucky guy. I get to do something like this show and get to talk to our friends and have you be a part of it too. So, thanks everybody. Thanks, Paulie. Yeah, go blast your cyber gods evidence, Jeff, for sure. Chris Corkum, as usual. Thank you. Johanna, Robert Hogg, Andy. Thanks for stopping by, Andy. I appreciate it. And adding a little bit of flavor to the show. Dead City Records, what's up? Is that you, John? All right. What's happening, John? Todd, absolutely, man. It was a great show. Great show today. Yeah. Yep. Human Falafel, I'll see you, bro. And I'm heading down to Florida a week from today. We will have, let me just remind everybody, a week from today's Bobby Steele. Then a couple days after that is Al Barr. Then we got Kate 108. Then Tristan DeGraves, John Zazula. We got a lot of great stuff coming up. Chucky Brown, thank you, man. Thanks for taking the time to put together, really smart, intelligent questions for our guests. I'm gonna go. I might go see Madball, man. I just might do that. Might go see Madball. So thanks a lot, everybody. And see you in a couple days. Happy Mother's Day. Until then, do good things, and good things will come to you.